fans, the man is back. It is the OG duo. We had a stand-in last week. At the moment, contract negotiations continue behind the scenes with regards to the long-term future between two fans.
Fabrizio Romano is speculating as we speak. He's tweeting, almost here he goes along the way. I hear it was the most watched episode on YouTube since this podcast's induction. So, that's a hell of a pre-season training camp for Mr. Addy de Block.
Yeah, so no, this is the thing, and so I mean, Dan, it's close to the moment. The contract renewal negotiations are definitely having to have a relook. So we'll have to wait and see if we're going to continue with Dan, or if we might be looking to make that loan deal a permanent one. But for now, we will deal with what we've got, and the man looks a little bit tanned. Looks like he actually saw the sun, and looks like Bok fever is officially hit. So first of all, Dan, how are you? How was Italy?
Italy was great until I heard I might have, I'm half out of a job now after coming back. So a holiday might have hurt me in that way, but good sun, which we lack in the UK. Good sea, good food. But happy to be back, Stevie. Very, very excited. Oh my word, do we have a lot to catch up on. And yes, as you can see, Bok fever is hit. I can't believe you there wearing your grey. I think it's testament to Bok season being in the country where I am, as opposed to the country
and you've got
where
confirmation
you
are going to the game as well. So
I shall be there.
Yeah, that's nice to be down this week. But Dan, let's get into this, shall we? Because we've got a lot to get through in this. After what we said was going to be a bit of a slow week last week or the week before, then we've now got everything ramping up with the Euros having started on Friday. We've got internationals coming up. We've got Ireland squads being announced, Bok teams being announced, Wales teams being announced, cricket into the Super 8 tomorrow. Stop, I like it stuff out here. So let's go through the predictions, because you did have a proxy last week.
I did.
Let's see how the proxy has fared. So we had 3 games, and for those who don't know, we do a running tally. 1st to 15 basically is the current competition. Steve currently leading 10 points to 9. The loser, by the time you get to 15, will have to do an episode in a rival jersey, so like a Bulls jersey for me, or like an Arsenal jersey. Dan will have to be in like United jersey, or like a Lions jersey, or maybe like an England rugby jersey or something. Let's try and find basically the worst possible thing to potentially wear, and they have to do an episode in that. So the race is on. It is firmly on. Now, in terms of the predictions last week, we did Bulls versus Leinster. Steve saying Leinster by 15. Alistair de Block clutching up here for Dan, going with the impossible. Bulls by 8, getting the dub. It was Bulls by 5 in the end.
Imagine picking too many for the Bulls to win by. That's what I call bloody confidence. What a guy.
Yeah, he obviously
is Ali a Bulls fan?
I think he is, actually, to be fair.
Okay, well, there it is. Heart. Yeah. Always with the heart, not the head, bro. This is how we do predictions on this side of the table.
Correct. Then Munster versus Glasgow. It ended up 10 points to 17. Both myself and Ali went with Munster wins. I said Munster by 5. Ali went Munster by 12. So technically, and I will claim this because Dan has had a couple of sketchy wins via this this rule on technicalities. So technically, I win that. So it's 1-1-1. And then Spain versus Croatia. Steve backing Croatia 1-0. Alistair going 2-1 Spain. Croatia were absolutely awful.
The under 60s rocked up.
Yeah, no, it was so frustrating to see that just the lack of. And everybody's now sort of saying about Spain a potential favourite and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Spanish side's good, but I don't think it's
not favourites, but people are impressed now.
But I just. And again, you still look at that Croatian side. There's still good players in it, but just didn't really come in. But we'll talk a little bit about that as well. Obviously, we had some interesting Euros results. England, for example, on Sunday, getting a victory, but very underwhelming performance for somebody supposed to be favourites. France having to graft last night to get their victory. So we'll talk about that there. So technically, Dan, you have been given the win. It is all square at 10-10.
We are equal. This is my first time, hey? We all square since the inception of this segment of the show. I'm glad I said to 15 and not to 10 because jeepers. Stephen, momentum's a funny thing. Those who haven't been listening for a long time, the score was 8-2, I believe. at its worst. So, I mean, A2, and now it's been a reverse A2 in the other direction. So we all equal at 10-10, and momentum's a funny thing, Stevie, and I have to say I back my chances. We team heart the side. There are too many analytics going on in the brain over there.
Yeah, well, to be honest, now that we're moving into the more sort of neutral things moving forward, I think this is where it's going to get interesting. We've got no Premier League, for example, so nothing to worry about between Liverpool, United, Affinity. Even in the URC, our team's out. We're always both going to back the box. So, yeah, it's now going to get interesting. Let's talk about some ruggers, Dan, because we had an incredible last weekend. 2 upsets. And whilst the Bulls were, the home side, and I got a lot of flack for calling it an upset, and saying that it was mission impossible, and people are like, oh, but this is the Bulls. Look at their history. Look at the results they've had. And I was like, I'm not saying it's one of the best upset games ever for the Bulls, but this Bulls side, this is not the Bulls side of Brian Abandon, Bucky's Boyta, Victor Matfield, Donny Rousseau, Farida Priya. It's not that Bulls side. This is a Bulls side that was missing 2 out of their 4 box. Had one coming back from injury and one that went off with injury
and
in the first half.
And
the captain, so this is a very inexperienced Bulls side on a sort of journey on the way up. But now, actually, 8 months away from potentially being URC champions against Leinster, who, regardless of not having won the trophies, 3 back-to-back European finals, for example. They are
half the Ireland team.
Yeah,
they're the real deal. They put teams to bed for fun, home or away. It doesn't matter. When they're full strength, Leinster only lose to the best of the best when they're full strength. That's just a full stop you can put next to that, because how many games have they lost this season at full strength? 2. 1 to Toulouse in the final, 1 to Bulls in the final. That's it. You know what I mean? When they go at it, hammer and tong, they win. So of course,
and when they win, they win impressive. I mean, look how easily they dispatched La Rochelle when they had to. They had some old scars there. It was like, might be a close game. They said not a chance. Went into that game and hammered the current European champions.
Yeah.
So the quality's there.
I mean, Stevie, I think it goes in 2 different directions, and I think this game was won and lost emotionally. In that, I think there's a massive emotional hangover that Leinster now have, and it's not about necessarily their quality on the pitch, because that isn't being questioned here. I think it's just how much can 3 finals back to back, as you mentioned, weigh on you, and trophy the seasons with a world-class squad like they have, versus the Bulls who go in with nothing to lose, and at home with their fans behind them. They just play like a team possessed, right?
Yeah. And I think Leinster paid the price for the rotation, didn't they? That South African trip, losing to the Lions and the Stormers, finishing in 3rd. That was the difference. Because I know it's been done before, but I do kind of say that's kind of more sort of the COVID times. But I don't think the Bulls go overseas to the RDS, or I don't even think they're in the RDS. I think they would have been in the Aviva or Croke Park, because the RDS is being renovated. I don't think Bulls go over there and do that. I think Leinster at home put them away.
Much less likely. But
so maybe a word of warning that to Leinster in terms of, next season you can't sacrifice that number 1 position.
Yeah, and you're also looking at, you speak about sacrifice, Stevie, and what Leinster, they sacrificed for the betterment of their Champions Cup, ended up not winning that, in a very close game, of course, going to extra time. But the Bulls, on the other hand, sacrificing the Champions Cup semi-final, sending a B team over, losing that, for the betterment of the URC season, earning them a 2nd place spot, getting a home semi-final, and as we kind of both agreed, one of the main reasons they were able to win. Much more difficult away from home. So, people scrutinized, people, were highly critical of Jake White, but it's worked exactly how he played it out, like a chess, not checkers. You know what I mean? This is what he wanted. He wanted to win the URC, and he thought he had more chance of doing that. And now he has an opportunity to do that on Saturday at home.
Yeah, he basically said it was quite simple. If we were to win the European champion, you have to go away to a Toulouse, away to a Leinster, away to Northampton, and he said like even if they beat Northampton, they would have then had to go on to play against a Leinster or Toulouse in the final over in Europe, and he basically said we're not going to win the Champions Cup. We can't. We don't have the resources, but we can contend for the URC. So yeah, I mean, put all the eggs in the basket, and they will host Glasgow Warriors on Saturday, and they will go into that game as firm favourites. So difficult to argue the results. But let's also talk about Munster versus Glasgow. Reigning champions. It is a curse, by the way. There is not a single team that has finished first in the URC log that has gone on to win the tournament.
Yeah,
so
it's huge.
And we're going to have a new champion as well. Neither Bulls nor Glasgow Warriors have won the URC. Bulls have been in a final,
which is so good for the health of the competition.
Yes,
right?
To have three different winners in 3 different seasons is really cool.
And I mean, obviously, Stormers were the likely ones to go back to back last season. And Munster potentially this season, but I mean, you're talking about to be fair, over the 3 seasons, those have been the dominant figures. If you're talking about 4 teams: Leinster, Munster, Stormers, Bulls. Now, but it's great, this, for all we know, the trophy could be going to Scotland this year, and not from South Africa. And now you're talking, we spoke about it a couple of weeks back, how it was amazing that we had a team from Wales, Italy, Scotland, South Africa, and Ireland in the top 8. So you're talking about diversifying your talent pool, and I think that's what makes this competition very different to others, in that you have so many that possible competitors.
Yeah, no, I think I 100% agree. And Glasgow Warriors being my second URC team, it was very cool to see them get over
even
the
this
ride.
weekend.
This weekend was 100% against Munster. 100%. I was all Glasgow Warriors. Oh, for this coming weekend. Yeah, this one does tug on the heartstrings a bit, because as I said, they played the first URC game, and I remember watching it. It was a Friday night. I sat at home and I watched it, and I was like, "Yo, this team's cool. Like, this is my team." And now they're in the final against the Bulls, so it's going to be the patriotism versus a team that I've been really rooting for the last few years. So it's going to be a tricky one for me.
You got a South African coach, Franco Smith, South African captain, Carl Steyn, Sinterman Jersey in there as well. I think he's injured at the moment, so not playing. But a couple of South Africans in the mix, as they usually are in and amongst the Scottish. So it's not all anti-South Africa if you're supporting the Glasgow Warriors, which I'm still on the fence about. Right? I'm also I'm. It's like, usually in rugby, as South African fans, everything's just geared toward the box. But now it's like my footballing side comes in, where it's like the noisy neighbour. You know what I mean?
Yeah, correct.
Now it's the Bulls, and particularly for you, in Gauteng, they're just across the road there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not hearing too many of the blowbuller in my ear at work as much as I'm sure you are on a day-to-day basis. So, I mean, either way, it's going to be a crack of a final, but you have to say Bulls are going to be favourites, but I think that might just favour Glasgow, as it did in the semi-final.
No, I think they'll enjoy being underdogs, but I think you're going to have potentially 50,000 Bulls fans who are going to be there at 3 o'clock drinking brandy, watching the box, and then filtering into Loftus. If there was ever going to be a cauldron and a stadium where you don't want to play, it's probably again going to be on Saturday, because it's going to be an absolutely mental vibe to have a Bok game just before, and then you're literally going to go from the Bok game into Loftus and watch that game.
It's sold out.
I don't know what the current update is. There wasn't an update today from the Bulls side. They did sell 4,000 tickets in the first hour.
Okay. I mean, it'll be at least 80% capacity. I mean, that.
Yeah, I reckon we'll see at least 40,000 people in there.
Yeah,
that would be my guess. But speaking of the day, we've got Springbok Rugby, Dan. And Rassie.
So I'm not wearing this hat for no reason.
Yeah, Rassie has sprung the surprises with a very interesting side that has been named. So I'm just going to go through it.
Every Rassie squad, I don't think we've ever
always
seen
that one like,
squad,
okay. Right? There's always that one selection that no one can really call. But let's go through the side quickly. So I'll go through it. 1 through to 15. It is Oxenchair, Malcolm Marks, Vincent Koch, Evan Etzebeth, Franco Mostert, Quagga Smith, Peter Steph-Toy as captain, Evan Roos. And then the backline is Faf de Klerk, Jordan Hendricks, Makazole Mapimpi, Andre Esterhazen, Jesse Creel, Edwin van der Merwe, Apelele Fassi. The bench is Bongi Imanambi, Intuko Nunu, Frans Malherbe, Salman Murat, Ben Jason Dixon, Grant Williams, Sasha Feinberg Gamazulu, and Damien Ade Lindy. The 4 uncapped players are Jordan Hendrickson, Edel van der Merwe, Ben Jason Dixon, Sasha Famingomazulu. So one debut waiting for the forwards, 3 in the back line. Dan, what stands out from you in that squad?
I mean, there's only one person we can start with, right? And it's the well documented and discussed position within the Springboks over the last couple of years at number 10, and it's Jordan Hendrickson. Yeah. I mean, you're talking about someone who is playing second fiddle to the guy who was just named today URC Player of the Year. He only started 55% of the games for Lions this season. So he's playing half the games because essentially
starting half the games, to be fair.
Sanele Nahamba has taken that number 10 jersey for Lions and made it his own, especially because the Lions have had such depth at scrum that they could have him there. I think Jordan was out injured in the beginning when he slotted in, and he's just been unbelievable. Complete box office from Nahamba. Not obviously getting into this squad is Nahamba, but we're here to speak about Hendrickson. I think the big thing that everyone's speaking about is his size, Stevie, and his size, how big he has become, and the conditioning that he has gone through to get to the stage. And I don't think his performances for the Lions, he wasn't necessarily dropped as a result of bad performances. He just couldn't get back in as a result of Nahamba.
It was just he just had he had the unfortunate thing of having 3 slightly off games, and then they gave Nahamba the keys, and Nahamba said "Cheers, and he bolted, and he just became undroppable. The dynamic he added to the team. You couldn't move him, and he played basically almost every game this season. He played 22 games, he played over 1,000 minutes to Jordan Hendrickson. So somebody was saying, he hasn't played a lot of rugby. You're wrong. He has played a lot of rugby. It just seems like he hasn't because he's been coming off the bench and he's been playing second fiddle. But I really like the fact that you mentioned the fact that he's bulked up, because I said 2 years ago when he came through at 20 years old. I mean, he was playing at 19, by the way, which for a backline player is very rare. One thing that's
kicking
always stood about
70 meters.
Yeah, but what is one thing that's always stood out for me, more than just like his kicking stuff, is his physicality. He's a big boy, and he knows how to tackle. He's a fantastic defender, and that's why when he came through, I said, Bok fly half. That is, he's the mold of a Bok fly half. He loves defense. He can take the ball to. I mean, he's been playing 12 recently a couple of times to try and get him and Nahamba into the team. So I don't think I'm massively surprised that the Boks coaches rate him, because I think he fits the mold. But a lot of people are very surprised that he skipped ahead of Mai Liebok, he skipped ahead of Sia Masuku, and skipped ahead of Sasha Famingomazulu as well.
Yeah, and I think, to be honest, he was even a bit of a question mark when he was added to the squad, right?
Yeah.
He wasn't a sure-in. He was probably the most unlikely backline player to be added into that because of his minutes and because of those only starting 55% of the games for the Lions this season. And what this tells us, Stevie, I mean, you're talking about a team, the third best team in South Africa, and the second choice fly half is now your starting 10 in a test match. I mean, what does that say about the depth that we have? Not to mention Mpilo Gumede, who could be in Pretoria right now, training for a URC final. He's not good enough to make the starting 23 for the Bulls, yet he's in a Bok camp.
I'm very confused about what's happened with that
depth.
Mpilo Gumede situation. I mean, how does he go from having the season he's having to having Marcel Coetzee being injured and still playing like a Nizam Kar ahead of an Mpilo Gumede? It's a weird. I think
that's just a Jake White nod of approval to probably the experience of Nizam Kar, to be fair. The Bulls just have so many loose trio options. But the point being is that the Springbok depth is ridiculous. You mentioned, I mean, I'm gutted not to be watching Sia Masuku on the weekend. I'm not going to lie, just because it felt like his rise and his trajectory, leading it up to this first test at Twickenham would have just been a beautiful story. But I actually think that he is more likely to get game time in the Island Series than Hendrickson or than Ngomezulu.
I will completely disagree with that.
Okay, talk to me.
I was saying today on the show, this Bok management, can you name a player who has gone from like nothing to something and gone straight into this Bok team and like skipped ahead of people? Like, the only person I can sort of think is Grant Williams. And the only reason I say that, as I said, it's amazing how loyal this particular like management group is in terms of people who have been in the system. They give them the chance first.
To be clear, I'm not saying he's going to jump Mani Liebok or Andre Pollard. I'm
Well,
not
he's gonna have
saying
to, isn't he, if he's gonna be involved in the
no,
Ireland
I'm
series?
not saying that. What I'm saying is, I think in that big game, if Rassi's picking between, if he's picking between Siya Masuku and Jordan Hendricks, I think he's picking Siya Masuku.
But then I think he would be playing Siya Masuku this weekend. Because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you give them exposure if you do intend on using him for Ireland?
Stevie, if I were to try and understand Rassi, I would be a millionaire. But I don't. But I have faith, and that's what he's bought by winning back 2 Rugby World Cups.
No, you can't get into his mind.
There's a plan somewhere in there. But I mean, there are a lot of talking points. Also, the comeback, Stevie. People who were either out because of injury. Salman Murat, Malcolm Marks making their respective comebacks. And then
Fassi back in the squad.
Yeah, Church of Fassi weekend special is back, and you can't say it's not earned as well. He had a great season with the Sharks. Evan Roos, the madly contested number 8 position,
Big
will
opportunity
be
for him.
particularly with the performance of Cameron Honeycomb over this last weekend. So this is an opportunity for him to wear the green and gold and put in a big shift. So I think it will go a long way for him having this extra week. And then of course Nkunu, joining what otherwise is just a typically very, very strong and World Cup winning forward pack. So, really, really exciting. Obviously, Ngome Zulu now, if he steps on the field on Saturday, England can wish their luck goodbye. No chance of him getting him. But there, another player who only ever really started getting minutes after Damon Willemse got his injury. So, again, the depth of the Springboks is just ludicrous.
Yeah, no, what I really enjoy is the fact that fly half was such a big problem position, and now we've got so many options there, for example, and the boxer, and you can see they've gone with Siya Masuku, who's 26, 27 years old. He could have another 2 World Cups in him, but I mean, we're talking about Jordan Hendricks, Sashfem Gomezulu, Jordan Hendricks being the older one at 22, turning 23, with Fahim Gomezulu turning 22. They've got 3 World Cups left in them, potentially. They've got 3 more World Cup cycles, so this is an opportunity for them to become part of the system and just start they can be very nonchalantly, play 4 to 5 games the next few seasons. Next thing you know, they'll be 28, 9 years old, ready to be starting and almost have 40, 50 games for the box, and they're ready to go.
And you're also looking at a number 10 position where Hendricks is looking at his left and his right. He's got Faf over 50 caps, Andre Esterhuizen and Jesse Kriel on the other side. So just a wealth of experience for him to be around. Obviously, there's Edwill and Apelele, who are the inexperienced heads at the back and on the wing, but it's the classic breeding of young players. Even Kunu is, I think, 24 years old. But
and he's coming on with Bongi
from the best of the best. He'll be taking over from Ox probably one of these days. So it's always the most exciting the year after a World Cup, and we were deprived of this during COVID because of COVID. To see what this would look like, we just had to go and play a Lions series without even anyone really knew. I don't think there was a single debutant in that series.
Yeah, I think
maybe Jasper Wiese. Jasper Wiese.
Jasper Wiese. I think he's about the only one that was playing for the British Irish Irish Lions. There's a couple in the that Georgia game, for example. I think it was Fassi. I think made his debut there.
Fassi,
and I think Roscoe Speckman made his debut. A couple of debuts back there. But something I wanted to talk about. We're talking about in terms of reward for just absolute hard graft, relentless effort. Ben Jason Dixon. What a season he's had. And just
what a guy.
He's been around the setup. He's been playing for the Stormers, but bench player, always kind of the first player to get dropped or in and around start. I mean, for example, you go look at his 22 and 22 season, and he played just 6 games, all off the bench. 22-23, for example, he played 21 games, 48% starting, and then you look at this season, for example, where all of a sudden he's a 70% starter for the Stormers, and been absolutely immense. You don't want to make comparisons, but there's a Peter du Toit-esque-ness about him, in terms of the work rate, the way he goes around, the defensive masterclass, the physicality, the reading that he makes, and just the hard graft.
Yeah, no, and again, super, super happy for him. Done it the hard way of forcing a way into a Stormers or regular Stormers starter through good performances, and that leads to an opportunity in quite a young Springbok squad. Obviously, because the Bulls are off, you look at, there are a ton of people that are lining up in his type of position. Lowe, for example, is just like knocking on that Springbok door. So Springbok material for 3 years now and has barely got 3 caps. But, now he has an opportunity, and you spoke about loyalty. Once they wear the Springbok shirt, that means that your the type of game that you have and the performance that you put on in a box shirt means more than anything you've done at club level.
Yeah, correct. And these coaches will reward you. They'll back you. You could have a dreadful club season or a very average club season, but if you've been doing it for the box, they'll say, "I'm very happy to continue backing you."
Absolutely.
They've shown that loyalty in the past, and sometimes, very very rarely to their detriment, but sometimes it's about knowing that you walk into a Springbok jersey and Rassie sits down and says, "Yeah, listen, I know you've had a tough 6 months, but you're my starting hooker, you're my starting whatever. I back you. I know what you can do. We know you can do. You've got nothing to prove here. Go out and just play the way you can because we know you can." So I think that's the backing that these guys give them is second to none. But Dan, something I want to talk about is the fact that we obviously got our opponents this weekend in Wales. So a very, very inexperienced side in that even Etzebeth has
more caps than the entire front row pack. Nuts.
Yeah.
190 to 118.
Yeah. So that shows you. And I think if you look at that starting pack, I think it's I've got the squad here. I want to look at exactly. I think it's like 2 players who've got all those 190 caps basically. It's a mentally inexperienced.
Wainwright has got a bunch. I think he's got.
Yeah, so it's Wainwright with 48 and Garrett Thomas with 30. So that's 78, almost 80 caps of that 118 coming from 2 players. Yeah. They're the only players who have, and then Dewey Lake's the only other player that's with more than 10 caps. James Botham's got 10 caps. Dewey Lake will cap to the side. Cool to see Liam Williams back in his first game since making it to Japan.
I saw that. I mean, he's by far the most experienced head, and from that, iconic Wales team, the one that was, winning Grand Slams at the Six Nations that we got used to, and he's got 90 plus caps. But other than that, you really have to, the other one is Wainwright, which you wouldn't even really associate to that era. So, I mean, a completely new face of Wales, as it has been. Obviously, wooden spoon winners in the Six Nations. And Gatwick's come out saying it's a roll of the dice. He wants to see you playing South Africa. Let's see who puts their hand up.
He loves that throw to the wolves. He loves that. You know what? Go play. I'll throw you. I'm going to put you in there. Go and show. You're playing against the world champions. Go and show me you're a test player. And I think he's going to sit there saying, if you look, the funny thing about Warren Gatland is he'll be going and say, I think he can win. He's got that. He's got that mentality. He's not going to sit there and be like, we're building, etc.
Yeah. He wants to see a player that in 4 years' time is going to challenge for the World Cup.
Correct.
And half of that is heart, particularly against a physical Bok team.
Yeah, he wants to see a Mason Grady who's got 11 caps, very talented young player, look up across to him at Jesse Currie and say, "Cool, I'm going to outplay you."
Yeah.
I'm going to go toe to toe with you. You won the World Cup. You were one of the best players in the World Cup last year. I don't care. I'm going to outplay you. That kind of attitude. That's what he wants out of these players. He wants these players to say, "Bugger, I don't care who we're playing against. If I outplay my respective person, then I've done my job." Yeah. And there's nice players in this World Star. I mean, I was a massive fan of Cameron Winnett when I was watching him during the Six Nations. Not a player I've watched a lot at club level, but looked so comfortable at international level in a struggling Welsh side. I still like Sam Costello. I know he's had his struggles at international level, but again, he's playing behind a very inexperienced pack that hasn't had a lot of opportunity on the front foot, but I do think there's a talented player there.
Has he got a tough order on his hands? I mean, if you're thinking, on defense, he's going to have, Andre Esterhuizen and Jesse Creel running crash balls right at him. And when he has the ball, he has Kwagga, Peter Steff, and Evan Roos hunting him down. So this is when, you got to, it's like, are you a man or a mouse? And we're going to figure that out this weekend, I think. But he has had his difficulties. I remember that game versus Italy at the Principality, the final game that concluded the Six Nations and resulted in them being the wooden spoon winners. He didn't have his best day out, and you see that from fly halves when they are rattled. There's
no place to hide, unfortunately, as a fly half. You can't hide. You cannot hide. It doesn't matter what the ball's coming to you. You have to, even if you're on the back foot, you're 50-50s. Even if they're hitting, if they're hitting, up and under, bombs into the sky. You're underneath that. You're at first receiver. You're having to sort of defend. If Evan Lewis does make a break off the back of the scrum towards you, you're hoping your flanks are coming, but you're going to have to sit there and say, okay, fine, well, I'm going to have to get involved. You cannot hide as a number 10. It is the position that is the most... exactly. You can't get away from that. So, a bit of experience coming off the bench. Gareth Davies with 76 caps. So that's a nice player to bring on. But apart from that, we're talking about 10 caps in the front row. James Ratty on debut, Eddie James on debut, Jacob Beetham on debut, and Mackenzie Martin with 3 caps. So the entire bench, I think, has about 90 caps, of which Gareth Davies has 76 of them.
Yeah. No, listen, it's going to be a tall order for them, but why not now? If you're one of these Welsh players, this is your opportunity, and this season, beginning with probably they're touring Australia, which is also difficult as much as Australia have had their problems, but this is where you put your hand up, and if you want to guarantee yourself, you give yourself runway if you put in a man of the match performance this weekend. So I'm really excited. Obviously, as mentioned, I'm going to be there in the flesh. 2:00 kickoff, followed by the Barbarians versus Fiji, which is just the most box office game you could even dream of watching. So my Saturday couldn't be scripted better.
Yeah, and a nice Barbarian side as well. You're going to watch Sam Whitelock's final outing, who will captain the side. But Dan, an Ireland squad has been named. We don't have a lot of time to speak about it, but we will. So we'll pick it apart a bit more next week when we've got a bit more time and we're going into the Ireland stage. But 2 very big absentees: no Jamison Gibson Park, no Jack Conan. What I want to focus on is no Jamison Gibson Park. I watched him, in the Six Nations,
their most important player.
I agree. I think
hands down.
And if it wasn't for Anton Dupont being an absolute freak of nature, I would have no issue saying Jamison Gibson Park could very well be the best rugby player in the world. The way he's been playing in the last couple of years, he's just insane.
He's top 5, no doubt, rugby players in the world, and the only reason he's not is because he's against the Lionel Messi of rugby. Unfortunately, sorry, that's not Finn Russell. But I genuinely think he is so the way he can vary the speed of that Irish attack, which has become so unrelenting as a result of his skill and his ability to distribute and put it on the toe and just be in that right space. Everything you want from a scrum half. He just makes that Irish side tick. So I think that is absolutely massive in the series. And Springboks, they have their own injury problems. Glaring ones of Currie Orense, for example, right now, and Captain Sia Kolisi. Well, we actually really don't know who's going to be the captain going forward, but we have our own problems. But I don't think there's as much of a reliance on one single player in the Springbok camp as there is to Jamie Gibson Park for that Ireland team. So I'm really interested to see who it's going to be filling his boots.
Yeah, Craig Casey, Conor Murray, named in the squad. Two players, which I love watching Craig Casey. I think he's a very, very cool fun squad to watch. And I was very impressed with him last year in that Munster final. But obviously, then you got the experience of Conor Murray. There are 3 uncapped players in the squad, by the way, in the form of Jamie Osborne and Sam Prendergast from Leinster, and then Ulster's Cormac Izuchukwu gets his first senior call up. The 24-year-old. So very keen to see if I'll be interested to see if we see any of those get game time. I'll be very surprised, unless they're gonna back Sam Prendergast to debut. Well, he's the other fly off in the squad really for Jack Crowley. Unless you're gonna go for a Kieran Frawley, you can also potentially play there. But it's a good squad. It is still got lots of quality. Peter O'Mahony talked about whether there was talks about whether he was going to potentially go and was his Ireland career. He himself said after the Six Nations we'll have to wait and see. He will captain the side. I reckon this could very well be a swan song. I think he might come out here for the 2-match tour and then call it quits.
It would be very Peter O'Mahony just. He's Mr. Shithouse of rugby, right?
Correct.
He wants to. The last thing he wants to do on a rugby pitch is win in South Africa. So I think, And if he doesn't, then he might just delay the retirement a little bit
One
longer.
of those things, if he beats South Africa, he'll retire. If he doesn't, you'll see him in the next World Cup.
If they won the Grand Slam, he would have retired by now, but they didn't, so now he's irritated and he must win the next one. He didn't win the URC, so he's gonna have to win something. We might, as you said, we might see him at the next World Cup.
And then he's going to announce retirement at the end of the season and get called up to the British and Irish Lions.
Yeah, and to captain it probably
as
well. But Stevie, before we move on to looking at England's performance at the Euros, let's quickly touch on England versus Japan this weekend. Eddie Jones going up against, obviously, being the former coach of the English side. So a lot of history in this battle in Tokyo. It's going to be an early kickoff, 6:50 a.m. my time, 2:50 local in Japan. But very, very interesting, and what really actually is looking like quite a strong English lineup with about 1,000 vice captains.
Yeah, 4 vice captains. Can we just talk about this? Why? What is the point? Because within those 4 vice captains, there is the real vice captain who will become the captain when the captain leaves the field. So when Jamie George goes off, who's the captain? That's the vice captain. And I mean, are you really telling me that Joe Marler needs to get a vice captaincy?
It just never works.
It doesn't work. Because you have to have one who's the designated captain. This whole crap about. Yeah, I mean, look, you could be like the box, I suppose.
Just call it your internal leadership group. It's like Dwayne. Everyone just knew Dwayne was like a player coach. You know what I mean? When he was at the box, no one questioned it. You don't need to put a label on it. It's an understood thing, or it's internal. Why are you forcing it by making it external, England? Are you fragile, or what's the vibe? Are these people not feeling they're getting enough credit?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Does Joe Marler and Henry Slade and the likes need to be told, you're important too, guys? Like, you're also a vice captain. It's just, it's not for me.
So Jamie George is captain. Jamie George is captain. And as you mentioned, Marler, Slade, Itoje, and Ben Earl, correct?
Yeah, correct.
And all good players understood, and essentially what all they're saying. Well, I mean, Henry Slade wasn't even at the World Cup. I was going to say a nod to you're part of the future. Henry Slade and Marler may or may not make the next World Cup. You'll have faith that Itoje will and Ben Earl will make the next World Cup. Earl, particularly, probably if they're wanting to put someone as their next captain. Jamie George isn't that young. No. He also there might be question marks about his next World Cup. So it's just confusing.
It is very confusing and unnecessarily confusing. So both think you've lost the plot. It would be very funny if Eddie goes and beats England. And
Eddie's been planning this game for weeks. Eddie was planning this game whilst Australia were busy being beaten by Wales at the World Cup. Yeah. Mid-game.
He's like, what?
They're touring England or touring Japan. That's where I'm going to move.
He's fit on the England game. He's watching the highlights, and they're like, Eddie, what are you doing? He's like, just do it, dude. Like, I've got the England game next year to win with Japan. Do you mind?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Stevie, let's move on from the rugby, because this is not the pub. Listen to other things other than rugby, and let's go on.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. So the Glasgow team to play the Bulls: Jamie Batty, number 1; Johnny Matthews, Xander Ferguson, Richie Gray, Scott Cummins, Matt Ferguson, Rory Dodge, Jack Dempsey. Backs is George Horn, Tom Jordan, Carl Stein, and is also the skipper. Sonny Tupolutu, Hugh Jones, Sebastian Cancellieri, Josh Mackay. The replacements: George Turner, Matthew Macbeth, Ollie Kebble, Max Williamson, Ewan Ferry, Henko Venter, and Jamie Dobie and Duncan Weir. Broadcast BBC Scotland.
Anthony Brown, can I ask that you start us off online?
No.
Anthony?
Was that me? Sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
No problem. Hi, guys. Just, Franco, sum up how big a match this is for you in the context of your time at Glasgow.
Obviously, last year we had that other final opportunity, and this is obviously the pinnacle. And this season. So we're really looking forward to be a part of it.
How much do you think you have developed and matured as a team over the past year since the Toulon game?
No, definitely a lot of lessons learned. I think out of the quarterfinal match last year against Munster at home, and obviously the final of the Challenge Cup last season, we've learned and grown. We've taken some of those learnings into our pre-season, and we took them through the whole season, and could apply some of them already. So looking forward now to face this next challenge, which is obviously the next step for us.
Okay. Cheers.
Eve McTiernan.
Morning, guys. Obviously, it's second final for you, Franco, third final for you, Kyle. How do you keep from getting caught up in the emotion of this weekend?
I think you just got to, we've got a really clear plan and a process that we put in place that's worked for us over the last 2 weeks, and I think it's just focusing on that plan and not getting carried away, just making sure that the focus stays in the moment and you deal with that moment and then move to the next one.
It's again another very consistent team selection, only changes coming on the bench. How do you think this has fared you throughout the season?
Well, obviously we have different objectives during the season. It's about getting new players to introduce to this level of play. It's about developing the squad. It's about freshness, enthusiasm. It's about managing 20 Scottish internationals to have everybody. It's a long season. If you include the World Cup preparation, these guys have been at it for a very long time. So obviously it was all built in to place to allow us now in the last part of the season to have the best available team out there to represent a very competitive squad.
And just lastly, for me, you spoke last week, Franco, about playing the game, not the occasion. How, obviously, biggest game of the season this weekend, how do you keep from getting caught up in the occasion this week?
I think we've learned a lot from last week's game. There was 20,000 Irish supporters at Thomond Park, and it was could have been intimidating, but I think we've taken a lot from that in our preparation for this week. We know that we'll face a pretty hostile crowd over here as well, and it's just double the number that we've seen last week. So, but again, it's like Carl just mentioned now. It's just focusing on the task at hand and not get engulfed by the occasion.
Okay, thank you.
Cool, thank you. David Barnes.
Hi, Franco. On that note about the consistency of the same team for 3 weeks, has that been hard to manage in terms of, during the regular season, guys know that their chance is going to come around? Have you had to manage that this week, that this is it, and if you're not in, you're not getting a chance to play the biggest game of the year?
I think there was clear comms from the start. They were competing to play in the final from the start. No team in this competition set off just to participate. So the players was clearly communicated to everybody that everybody's got a chance to play in it, and everybody's got to perform at their best. And obviously, I've got a good relation with the players, and they would understand the process and the plan. And the players that's been selected must take that responsibility on board. They represent more than just the club and themselves, also the teammates that will have to deal with the disappointment of not being involved.
Kyle, we've just spoken to Jake White, who was saying that when you guys played them in the regular season, it was a different kind of pressure because you kind of were looking for 4 tries because you're trying to get back to the top of the league. This is, win or bust, doesn't matter. Does that change your mindset coming into this game?
No, not really. Look, I think there's been a lot of change in both teams over the last month. We've learned a lot of lessons from our trip here the last time and matured a lot as a side. But I think again, it comes down to having a plan and having a process and making sure that you don't let any of the external pressures sort of influence that. And I think the last 2 weeks has given us a lot of belief in that plan. Which gives us the confidence to back that plan again this week.
And the last count I saw, Kyle, you had 25 for friends and family coming to support you. Have you managed to boost that number any higher?
Yeah, that's it. Our operations manager, Pump, I think if it's not my dad WhatsApping him, it's me WhatsApping him to make sure we've got enough tickets, and the requests keep coming in. So I think I'm not too sure how many Franco's got, but yeah, I think we've asked for over 35 tickets this time around.
Thanks, Kyle. And Franco.
Stuart?
Thanks, Lena. Franco, Jake White told us this morning that his message to his team this week has just been, let's just do what we did last week. Has that been your message, or have you focused more on where there was room for improvement from the Munster game?
No, I don't think what we've done last week will be enough to beat the Bulls here. We'll have to make a step up. I think there's going to be a big challenge. I know this. I'm South African. I know their heartbeat. I know how the blood goes through their veins, and I know how they desperately want to succeed. So we face another challenge. It's not. There will be comparables, but we definitely see this as a different challenge. And yes, I agree. We must step up if we want to, to be competitive until the end of the game.
Duncan Weir made a big impact late in the game last time when you played the Bulls, albeit in defeat. Was his contribution then the reason why he's been selected on the bench this time?
Oh, look, the ball flies a little bit further over here because of the height above sea level. And he has that ability to kick a little bit from further out. We against Munster, we declined a couple of opportunities because of the little bit of wind in our face, and it's just George's range is just up to a certain point where Duncan's got a little bit more distance in it, and then that's one part of it. Yes, he contributes immensely off the field, and his experience is counting in his favour at the moment. He's been a cool-head in a lot of test matches before, so maybe from that perspective, that just gave him the nod there for us this week.
Thank you.
Grampian?
Hi, Franco. It's the last game in Glasgow colours for a couple of guys, George Turner and Ollie Kebble. Do you sense you'll get something special from these two tomorrow?
Yeah, definitely from them. I think they would love to, leave the jersey for the next person with a lot of responsibility in it. But I think from our side also, I think the rest of the team is also going to have to step up to, send them off in a proper way. So there's a lot of some of that emotion in that, but it will hopefully is all channeled into what needs to be done.
Thanks, Franco. Good luck.
Cheers.
Graham McPherson?
Hi, guys. Franco, you're a man who always likes to be quite organised. I just wonder how this week has been for you. Obviously, the players coming at different times and not being able to train as much. How have you found that kind of disruption?
No, we weren't disrupted at all. So it was always the plan to be on Wednesday afternoon. Even the last time when we came out to the Bulls, we just came in different flights, and it worked. There was no change in it. The important fact, part of it was that we got here in time to do the prep here and have enough time to recover. So no, we have anticipated something like this in the weeks before. So no surprises, nothing that unsettled the team, and we followed the similar schedule and routine that we've had when we played here last time. So a lot of similarities to the boys, and that's basically what the reason for the being organised is to give them opportunity to focus on what's the task at hand and not be distracted by something. So I'm very happy. The preparation and the travel will not be an excuse this week.
And Kyle, can I just ask you, it's the same referee as last weekend. Did you have to try and get him on side after the way the match started against Munster?
No, not really. Look, I think we know that we need to make a step up, and in our discipline and the way we started that game. Like Franco says, it'll be a whole new challenge this week, and the Bulls have all the power to make us pay for mistakes like that. But again, I think you can't control what the referee feels and decisions he makes. So we can only control our actions and how we respond to them. So that's where our focus is.
Thanks, guys. All the best.
Cool. South African media that are online, you'll have one question. We'll start with Ashfaq, and then we will go to Morgan, and then we will round off with Simon Rickert. Ashfaq?
Thanks, Lunga. Franco, have there been extra Afrikaans lessons this week to work out the Bulls line-out calls? Because I know you guys are always a great mauling team.
No need for that. I think the game's moved on to we're beyond line-out calls anymore. I think the guys it's by the back end of the season. I think it will be we will take more than just understanding what the line-out calls is.
Morgan?
Thanks, Lunga. Hi, Carl. Hi, Franco. Franco, this is not your first final at Loftus, 2007, if I remember correctly, but how special is this being able to bring?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sport for tonight's epic clash to come. It is Bulls versus Glasgow Warriors. It is the URC final, and it all comes down to this. A brand new champion of the URC is about to be crowned with the Bulls hosting Glasgow Warriors over in Loftus, and a sold-out Loftus as well. It doesn't get any better than this, and absolutely purling conditions as well. It's 6 o'clock down here in South Africa. We have to kick off in just a few minutes' time. The trophy has just been brought up by Bucky's Buerta. I'm trying to work out who's there next to him. And the teams are coming out, being led by the mascot in front of a packed-out Loftus. Settle in, people. The rugby is not over. We thought the rugby was over with just the Springboks. No, not a chance. We've still got so much rugby to go. And we're really looking forward to how this game does transpire, because I think that we're in for it should be an absolute cracker, really. It is the URC after months and months and months. We are finally at the final stage of the tournament. Will it be the Bulls or will it be Glasgow Warriors competing for that? That is what is out on the cards for today. The URC trophy is what's up for grabs. And yeah, settle in, because I think we're in for a goodie. Let me know what your score predictions are. Do a bit of checking here. How are we feeling, people? Who are we voting for? We've got a poll running asking who will win the URC. At the moment, Bulls winning that. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. And maybe your score prediction, stuff like that. You know, get involved. Get involved is what I say. Ruan Nokia getting ready to lead out the Bulls, who've got a special grand final jacket. Fancy here. The Bulls, apparently. And they'll be led out by the captain, Ruan Nokia. No Marcel Coetzee tonight. We will go through the teams in just a little bit. And two South African-born players leading them out. Carl Steyn now represents Scotland, but born and bred in Gauteng, leading out the Glasgow Warriors, whilst Ruan Nokia will lead out the Bulls in his first season as captain, actually, as well, co-captain. Him and Marcel Coetzee doing the duties. But due to the injury of Marcel Coetzee, he has been entrusted with the captaincy for the final. And very interested to see how the Bulls fare and how he fares as captain as well. It's an important opportunity. It's an important time in a young player's career to try and captain your side in a final, for example. So very keen to see how he manages, and very keen to see how the Bulls respond. In terms of the teams, let's go through it, shall we? Not many changes being made, as you'd imagine. For the Bulls in the front row, it is an unchanged pack. Geert Dinnekamp behind Kobler, Wilco Low in ahead of Ruan Nokia. We then got a back row of Marco Bastard, Albert Low, Cameron Hanekom. In Brosepierre, partners Johan Goosen, Kurtley Arnser fit and ready to go on the wing with Sergio Peterson and Devin Williams coming in at full back. In the centres, it is Harold Forster and David Creel. The substitutes are Aka van der Merwe, Sapir Matanzima, Francois Klopper, Reynard Ludwig, Nizam Carr, Zach Berger, Chris Smith, and Cornel Smith. If we look at Glasgow, just as we're about to get kickoff underway, it is Jamie Batty, Johnny Matthews, Xander Ferguson in the front row, Richie Gray and Scott Cummings in the second row. Behind them, a loose trio of Matt Ferguson, Roy Dodge, and Jack Dempsey, as Johan Goosen does get things underway, goes down the right side, quite short as well. And it's an early good take for Josh Mackay at full back. The back three competed behind Carl Steyn, Sebastian Cancelera, and Mackay. In the centres, it is Hugh Jones and Sino Tupolotto. George Horn is about to feed it back to, no, he'll go himself. But if you were to go back to his fluff, it is Tom Jordan. First kick of the match there for George Horn. And it's a good take under the high ball as well. But he's actually been burgled on the ground. But penalty, says Andrea Piardi for Johan Goosen. Apparently no release once he got to the ground. The substitutes for Glasgow, it is George Turner, Nathan Macbeth, Ollie Cable in the front row, Max Williamson, Ewan Ferry, Henko Fenter in a 6-2 split. That then features Jamie Dobie and Duncan Weir. And with that early penalty, the Bulls are going to take the points. And Jan Goosen, who kicked beautifully last week off the tee, has got his kicking tee out from the buggy. And he's going to have a shot at goal here. Right, Jan Goosen, who's kicked well throughout the season, had an absolute masterclass last weekend. He'll be important, and another good game for him will be vital if the Bulls are to get victory today. It's not an easy kick by any means in front of what is the sold-out Loftus, although I'm seeing quite a few seats over there. He struck it well. It's going to hold its line as well. Early points here for the Bulls. Jan Goosen gets on the board. The Bulls in front. Yeah, you can't ask for a better start than that. A bit sloppy maybe for Glasgow Warriors, maybe being a bit over eager. And Jan Goosen doing his best to make sure that they are punished. And it's a good take that from Albert Lowe from the restart from Glasgow Warriors. So important in these sort of games to start well. You can't let the occasion get to you, and early points just puts you in a whole different mindset. Challenge is good apparently from the referee. Now a bit of space over here for Jack Dempsey, who we know is going to do a lot of carrying today. Now Glasgow Warriors, Supersport. That's a good tackle there. Currie hammering Tom Jordan back. So good to see Currie fit and ready to go. And that's a nice early contribution from the prolific winger. Now George Horn's going to go to the boot. Lifts us high in the air for a couple of chases. It's swirling up in the night sky there. And it's Jan Goosen underneath it who takes it well. Second opportunity for him to take the ball up there. And he's done it very well. Imbosa Pierre waits. And Gerard Stennekamp will carry the ball forward. Imbosa Pierre, the base of the rack. Lifts it long here. Curtly Arnson will give chase, as will Elric Lowe. And it's allowed to bounce. I think it's a knock-on advantage here for Glasgow. Looking for Tupolotto. Good tackle there for Harold Forster. David Creel gets up quickly. Harold Forster, no advantage going back for, I believe, a knock-on. Or was it a penalty, actually, given the way everyone is retreating? I think it is a penalty for taking the man in the air against Curtly Arnson. We'll have a look here. Yeah, Curtly Arnson not really in a position to catch the ball and taking out Josh McCarr. I'm surprised they actually just didn't penalise it immediately. And going to the corner here are Glasgow. Oh, that's free kick to the Bulls. That's poor actually from Glasgow. They got the call completely wrong. And it'll be frustrating from the coaching staff to see that. Yeah, I can just see getting the communication completely wrong. So it will be a free kick. And Bulls can clear their lines. So I'm not entirely sure what's happened to our tracker over here. I'll give it a second. I'll just try and sort it out. No, that's the scoreboard now. We're having an absolute disaster class here. There it is. There's the scoreboard. Tracker will sort out in just a second. It's Xander Ferguson. And it's a penalty there for not releasing against the Bulls. It's a bit sloppy, must be said. Right, so back on the 22 here are Glasgow Warriors. Now Tupolotto in the midfield. Puts his head down, runs to Jan Goosen, makes a few meters. Such a good centre as Tupolotto. Strong carry that from Murray Dodge. Horn quick ball to Tom Jordan. Tom Jordan. Big tackle on him. Bit of a slip there from him. Good work there from Cummings. Now Xander Ferguson. Bounce off of Wilco Lowe. Has another go. Good work there from the Scottish prop. Tupolotto showing go. Tries to straighten. Nice big tackle there, but not getting any go forward ball now are Glasgow. Hugh Jones. That's a big carry there from Matt Ferguson. Now, Tom Jordan to Cancelera. Good defense so from the Bulls. They're losing a bit of momentum here at Glasgow, but retaining possession as they go through the phase. 11 phases so far. Goes short there to Cummings. Now, Hugh Jones sees a bit of space in behind, puts it to the boot. Currie Lawrence is back, does take it. Will find a clearance off the boot. And what a clearance that is. Currie Lawrence, I mean, he's got the Myers touch on him, doesn't he? Everything he touches just turns to goal. Absolutely brilliant that from Currie Lawrence. Bit of treatment job for Jan Goosen. Definitely a man they can't afford to lose. He's been at his absolute best this season, has Jan Goosen. 156 points scored. Right, so he is back up after we've seen a bit of treatment as Jan Goosen. Looks okay. So he will continue. Right, let's see if they're Johnny Matthews this time. No, it's contested actually, and it falls back to Glasgow Warriors eventually, but another messy line out. No knock on is the call here from Piatti. Now Xander Ferguson. All the possession so far with Glasgow. Horn goes to the boot. Good take that for Currie Lawrence. And now turnover ball here. Jan Krobbelop. Brosapir goes back to Jan Goosen. He pumps it downfield. Cancelera now. With a bit of space. Looking to run it. Running hard as well. Plenty of pace there from Cancelera. Good tackle that from Creel. Left the ball behind. That is Hugh Jones. Turnover ball here for the Bulls. In fact, it will be a knock-on. We have our first scrum of the day. Should be a very interesting scrum this as well. Right, 902 kgs is the Bulls pack. It's heavier than Glasgow, but I mean, these days, I mean, it's a bit of an arbitrary stat these days, is the pack weight. So they just don't really make that much of a difference. It's all about technique. Technique and how well you should sort of scrum as a unit, really. It's a bit of a science of scrumming. It's not quite simple as just as the big man goes forward. And another reset here. Come on, let's get a scrum going here, people. First initial shot from Glasgow. Now the Bulls starting to dominate, and they've got the penalty advantage here as well. And there is the penalty. I mentioned I think this is going to be a big opportunity for the Bulls. I think their scrum is so good. Wilco Low has absolutely transformed the side. Been so impressed with him as a signing. First scrum, first penalty. And Devin Williams, that left boot, will try to find a few more yards than Jan Kuster might have. And you'll find touch just outside the 22. Xander Ferguson not particularly happy with that. Initial hit was backwards on the Bulls, and they just rode the wave. And then eventually, in fact, it's actually Currie has done really well there. Done a bit of a job on Xander Ferguson, who's a nice player to try and come up against, to try and prove a point over the box. Now it's a good line. Albert Lowe straight down from Brosa Pierre. Flat to Hussen. Back to David Creel. Creel to Shirtle Peterson. Shirtle Peterson with a bit of space. Goes to the boot. Curtly Orenson! And Carl Steyn will run it out. Good covering that from the Glasgow captain. Shirtle Peterson in the build up there. Nice little set move from the training ground from the Bulls. Yeah, and nothing there to do for Carl Steyn except to run it out. So it's good work in the end. Right, Jan Krobelov will feed the line out. It's a good take. And it's a bit of a messy offload, but Low gets to Mrosa Pierre. He also spills it. Now Curtly Orenson just runs it straight. Packs a little punch, does Curtly Orenson. Now Papier goes to Marco van Staden. And they get to within 5 meters here, the Bulls. Nice carry there. Now Cameron Hanekom. On the 5 meter line now, the Bulls. Right by the poles on the right hand side, they go to Gerard Steenekamp. Here's a good strum, put them on the front foot here. Now Brosa Pierre goes flat to Cameron Hanekom. Almost in the way of Ruan from Mark. Still advantage here for the Bulls. Ruan O'Keefe now. Might look at going to the back line with that penalty advantage. No, they go to Ruan for Mark. Keeping it nice and tight. A little bit upright there was Ruan for Mark. Now the new advantage here for the Bulls. And on the 5 meter line, yeah, take the points. Thank you very much. That should be 6-0. Very good work so far here from the Bulls. Proficient. That's the word, I think. Proficient. Nice hits already over here. It's been a pretty physical clash. And as expected, Johan Corson has grabbed his tee. And no issue there, Johan Corson as the extras. Bulls go to 6 points to 0. Good accuracy, good start, and good momentum. So I asked in the comments who's going to win the game. 432 votes, by the way. Bulls, 94%. How's that for some confidence from those in the comments in the voting round there? Not on the right-hand side. Albert Low underneath it. Runs into Matt Ferguson. Not a bad tackle, but makes a few yards to Albert Lowe. Now Ambrose Pierre asks for a blocker in the form of Ruan Nokia. He counted 5 seconds. That's a big mistake from Ambrose Pierre. Andrew Piatti said that he counted 5 seconds, said use it, and Ambrose Pierre didn't use it. So they conceded a scrum here of the Bulls. That's a big mistake from Ambrose Pierre. Something that is very, very rarely called. So that's an interesting one to make the call and be willing to make that call. And we have a reset here. Another reset here. Eventually, we hope we're getting a scrum going. That's a much more solid ball available there for Horn. Goes to Tupolotto. Tupolotto's going to go straight. Quick ball here from Horn. Goes to Jordan. Fires out to Cancelera. So it's actually Josh Mackay. Way up Carl Steyn comes inside. Drifting a little bit Carl Steyn. Still goes Carl Steyn. Eventually wrapped up by Cameron Honeycomb and Albert Lowe. But go for a ball here for Glasgow. Oh, it's a big hit from Matt Ferguson on Ruan Nokia. Xander Ferguson, that's nice and deft from him. Horn, quick ball here for Glasgow. Hugh Jones, popping up to absolutely nobody. Ambrose Pierre is on after this. Curtly Arthur is after this. Who's going to win the race here? Pierre's got away with it. Now it's been knocked down, but backwards, and it's going to pop up for Harold Forster. How many knock-on and stuff like that? Goodness me, that was chaotic. Chaotic. Cheap as me, that was chaotic. Right, so there's a knock-on for the Bulls. I think it is. I think there's a couple of knock-ons there. Ambrose Pierre's only got ball in hand. Number 85 out of 100 in the top 100, Ambrose Pierre. Had a very good season. Right, so scrum, it is actually Glasgow Warriors ball. It made sense to be a Glasgow Warriors ball. I was a bit confused when Ambrose Pierre had the ball. Another reset here. 60% possession so far for Glasgow. Right, Horn on the back of the scrum, goes to the boot, looking for a good clearance, and will find. I really enjoy watching George Horn going around, going about his business. Very, very tidy player. Nice quick scrum off, nippy, but very, very solid as well. Does the basics well. Good line out there. Really good line out that. Good contest in the end, but Bulls do win it. Now Brosapia goes to Marco Verstaden. Looking to knock the lights out in his name of Escom. Albert Lowe. Now, Vilko Lowe. Not a bad pass there from Brosapia. Navigating a few wayward Glasgow stragglers. Now, short ball there. Good carry that from Brosapia. Much better than the Bulls. Building a bit of momentum as he got past the 20-minute mark. Now, David Creel. He's had a very strong season. Presents forward Papier. Verstaden goes to Jurgen. Devin Williams. Devin Williams looking for options. Pops up to Kurt Lawrence. Kurt Lawrence. Wrapped up by George Horn. Good work that by the back three. Penalty advantage. Yeah, penalty for the Bulls. I think it's offside actually is the call here. Let's have the comments. Zelda going for the Bulls. Torian going for the Bulls there. Brooks saying, come on, Glasgow. And Brett saying, nice start by Box today. Box team 13 white, 12 colour. No. Interesting observation there. Bruce Thompson saying, Bulls can be glad they've got Coulson and not Monty. No, well, I mean, one has won the URC. The other one is Monty, as it's Jan Coulson. Weird chat. Monty Box put them in 2 finals and won one of them. So it's amazing how you can be at top of the World Cup winner, URC winner. You have like one bad quarterfinal, and all of a sudden you're just completely surplus to requirements. Nobody rates you anymore. Sports fans are fickle. Another penalty there for the shot for the Bulls, and they are about 10 meters out. They'll be able to go within 5 meters out, and the two number 6s getting to know each other, and Matt Ferguson and Marco Verstaden. Now, is this bad enough to reverse the penalty? Or is it actually... Okay, so actually the number 6 from Glasgow. So Matt Ferguson had actually started the scuffle. Carstein alerting something to the referee there. The referee saying he didn't see that picture, which is a nice way of saying I didn't see it. Ha! That's how it can also be translated. Right. 5 meter here. Brian Croppola looking to try and get over. Not sure that Glasgow player was on side, but ball is available at the base of the ruck here for Ambrose Pierce, but no penalty advantage for the Bulls. Forster gets hammered back by Xander Ferguson. That's a nice tackle by him. Jack Dempsey, who was doing so well that last week. Now Ambrose Pierce. Cameron Harnekorp just short. Albert Lowe pick up and go. Should have maybe left it for Ambrose Pierce. Goes to Wilco Lowe. They're just short here. We're going to have a time off here from the referee. Reckons it could be a try. We'll have to go to the TMO to check. We're going to have a go and have a look at the top here to see if Wilco Low. So it's initially short there from Cameron Harnicorn. Then Albert Low has to pick up and go. So I think there is grounding here. The question is there double movement? Is that double movement? We have to have another look here, I think. Well, they're looking initially at Cameron Harnicorn, who I think was... I think this might stand, you know. They're looking and saying they don't see the clear double movement. I think he's actually right there. No try would be the call here from Piatti. So Halep is the call here, and it's going to be a 22... sorry, a try line dropout rather. Now Albert Low. Yeah, and Cobbleon, that's a solid carry, yep. 23 minutes gone, Bulls 6-0. Now, Hal Forster, not too many options. Decides to dab it in behind. And Currie is going to give chase. Really done well there, has Josh Mackay. Just sliding on the ball there. But penalty advantage was very isolated. Won the penalty at the breakdown. And the pressure here from the Bulls is absolutely relentless. And you can see there, it's a good take initially from, I think it's actually Tom Jordan. And then Sergio Peterson all over him, keeps him on the floor, gets his hand over it. Really good work. And they're over, and they've got it. Yeah, good work that from the Bulls. Really, really solid work. They've been dominant. They've had the rolling more going. And it's kind of a bit of a matter of time, isn't it? Marco Verstappen is the man you'll celebrate. Oh, is that a double whistle, though? Are we going to have a check here? Time is the call. We might yet have a look here. There's actually a word with the captains. The trial's not going to be an issue. There is going to be a word between the two captains. Yeah, so just having a bit of a word there. There was some afters after the try, so the referee just saying the next time he sees that, he's going to give a penalty. Johan Person, no issue there. Splits the polls. And it is 13 points to 0. Very, very good work here so far from the Bulls. They've been clinical. Yeah, that's great work there from Marco Verstappen. Albert Lowe from the kickoff. Good work there from him. Ambrose Pierre lifts it high. Josh Mackay underneath it. Gets away from one. That's a really good work. Gets away. Still good as Josh Mackay. Brilliant work that from the Glasgow number 15. Now, quick ball here. Tupolotto. Goes to Hugh Jones. Well wrapped up by Sergio Peterson. He's having another good game so far as the wing. Horn back inside here. Johnny Matthews in the midfield. Just short of the 10-meter line here. Glasgow now back down the left-hand side. Tupolotto. Stabs him behind. Very, very good work that. 20 on the 22 here. Just driving the Bulls back. Identified that there was no space. Sergio Peterson was up and Devin Williams was a bit more central. It's a good kick in behind from Tupolotto. Glasgow dominating territory, getting themselves in the right positions, but really, really struggling to convert. The Bulls, on the other hand, have taken all the opportunities they've needed and find themselves 13 points ahead as a result. Good work that from Mark. Mark Verstappen, though, caught on the ball. And how was that backwards? Andrew Pirardi. Okay, apparently backwards. Down is the call. Knock advantage here as Ambrose Papier. Asks for another phase here. Just inside the 22. Can't keep for touch. Big counteract that's coming, though, from Glasgow. Eventually it's sealed off and Ambrose Papier will kick. Advantage over is the call. Right against the touchline. Right, Carlstein slips a bit, but he'll run this into contact. Runs a bit further infield now. Down the right-hand side. No, bit of a change, bit of a slip there from Tom Jordan. He wants to go himself. Tries to straighten. Makes a yard or two, but is brought down just past the halfway line. George Horn looking for options. Probably going to go to the boot here. Will go to the boot. Not too many chases. It's actually a well-weighted kick, but... only the forwards chasing there. I think it's Jack Dempsey who gets there, makes the tackle. I take it all back. It's Scott Cummings. Now Cameron Harnicombe just outside the 22. Now Steenekamp. Good work there from him. Marco Verstappen trying to clean up here. Good defense this one with Glasgow. Ambrose Papier. It's taken back, so can't get into touch. Goes to Johan Kroesen, who has an eye, and I think will go down the centre of the park. It does do indeed. Right, it's a good take on the run there from Jordan. He's got Mackay's for company. Goes himself to Tom Jordan, wrapped up by David Creel, who's trying to hit the ball in the contact, unsuccessfully. Back down the left-hand side. Horn fires out to Tupolotto. Tupolotto goes to Jack Dempsey. He puts his head down. Authoritative run there from the Glasgow number 8. Horn down the left-hand side, yeah. Tupolotto. Jan Grobler trying to jackal the ball unsuccessfully. Back down the right-hand side. Glasgow go. Now Horn lifts it high. Carlstein will give chase. But he's overrun it and very good, well taken there from Jan Kroesen. Then gets away to Sergio Peterson. does well to get down to the ground. Quick ball here from Rosa Pierre to Albert Lowe. Bulls building from deep. And stolen illegally from Glasgow. But it's offside is the call from Andrew Piatti. As the half an hour mark ticks by, Bulls very much in charge on the scoreboard. Glasgow, we're frustrated that they've had so much possession and territory, but done very, very little with it. And going for the line, there's Jan Hurston. Not a bad kick. I think it might have been Devin Williams, actually. Halfway between the 10-meter line and the 22. And this is where the Bulls have been, as I mentioned, so proficient. Every single time they've had an opportunity to get into Glasgow territory, they've generally come away with points. So Glasgow got to put out the discipline and got to be more accurate. Bulls have been much better in that regard. Haven't given away any sort of free penalties. Haven't allowed Glasgow Warriors to get that scoreboard ticking just yet. Jan Krobler goes to the back of the line. Albert Lowe. At least it looks like he got a bit of a cut on his arm. Jan Hurston goes to Creel. Creel fires through. Cameron Hanekom in the midfield. Hugh Pilato, quite literally in Pilato and Hugh Jones making a tackle. Brosa Pierre goes short to Bill Colo. Wrap around there. And it's been intercepted by Cancelera. He comes inside. Has he got the pace? He's been brought. No, he's back. He's got away from David Creel. Still going. Curtly Aronson, but he gets the offload away on the bounce to Dempsey. Big opportunity now for Glasgow Warriors. Inside the Bulls 22 on the right-hand side. Long pass to Tupolato. A little bit to nobody. Tupolato fires it out to Hugh Jones. Hugh Jones got Carl Stain for company. Carl Stain gets away from one. Still going as Carl Stain. So deceptively strong in the carry. Ball comes loose though. Is that forward? Marco Verstappen has turned it over. Forward and turned over by the Bulls. Massive moment. That could have been Glasgow's first try. There is a knock-on advantage here. Creel goes to ruin for Mark. And Ambrose Papia will clear. What a counter-attack that was. Not the best pass. Probably wasn't actually really on from Ambrose Papia. Trying to sort of get that pass in behind the player. Cancelera doing very well. Stick his hand and just stuck. Got away from one. Rode the pressure. And it's not a bad clearance from Ambrose Papia. But Glasgow Warriors on the front foot. But you can see some frustrated Glasgow Warriors supporters there. This over here. Trying to get that pop there. Great little hands there from Cancelera. He then turns. If he doesn't slip there, I'd be very interested to see if he managed to, if he would have gone the full distance, actually. And then Carl Stain, what a carry that was from him as well. And then David Creel in trying to tackle the ball, just dislodging it. That's where the knock-on came before Marco started and jumped on it. It will still be a Glasgow Warriors lineup, though, just outside the 22. Not the best line at all. And Tom Jordan comes flying in and takes it well. Good work from the Glasgow Fly half. Pick up and go from Jack Dempsey. Straight down the middle. Another pick up and go this time from Rory Dodge. Bit of intensity and a bit of intent here from Glasgow. Now Horn looking for options. Goes to Gray. Jamie Batty, not too many options. Just kind of steps over the ruck, goes himself. Johan Krobler trying to get over that ball. And does win the penalty. Not the right option that from Jamie Batty. He had no support, and Johan Krobler says thank you very much, gets over that ball, and it's a really, really good win that from him. Yeah, and Bulls winning small battles. If they go in at half time at 13 points to 0, I think that's one end on the trophy, to be honest. And they've had opportunities, definitely had chances. And Loftus is absolutely rocking. A sold-out Loftus. Things you love to see. The flags are up. The bull rings are out. The hard hats are there. Plenty of blue are empty seats, and I think I saw something about like 15,000 seats or something allocated towards clubs and stuff like that. And for me, that's always the issue. When all these tickets that get allocated to clubs, they never get used. Ever. They get far too much tickets. They get far too many tickets itself, and then they don't distribute them. And those are always the empty sections. But the main stand's absolutely packed. We're waiting on the official attendance. We'll hopefully get that about half time, maybe about 50 minutes. But it should be north of about 45, maybe even 50,000. It's a bit of a messy line out, and Glasgow Warriors have won it back. George Horn goes to Xander Ferguson. What a half he's having so far. Horn just taking his time now. Goes to Gray. Now goes to the boot shedders, Horn. Carl Stain will give chase. This is well weighted. Very well taken that from Sergio Peters, who's right up against the touchline. Jack Dempsey. So Roy Dardis trying to force him out. So he does very well stay in, does Sergio Peterson. Now we run for Mark. Just outside of 22 here for the Bulls. Ambrose Pierre goes to Jan Kursen. Jan Kursen goes to Devin Williams. Devin Williams needs a bit of space. And he's straight through it, Devin Williams. Needs options. Look at the pace. Throws out to Kurt Lawrence. Kurt Lawrence has left it behind. Turnover ball here. Sebastian Cancelero would have probably railed him in. It was a good tracking back from the wing. Now, is there a counter-attack on here for Glasgow Warriors? Chupolotto gets away from one. Runs to Ambrose Pierre. Game opening up here with 5 minutes to go before half-time. Scott Cummings goes direct. Up to the 10-meter line here at Glasgow. Horn's going to go to the boot once again. He sees a bit of space on that right-hand side. Backtracking is Williams, who made that initial break. Throws it inside to Jan Goosen. He's outside the 22. Goes on the right-hand side. It will stay in. Carl Stan underneath it. He won't kick this. He never, ever does. Runs it hard at Sergio Peterson and Ulrich Lowe. Glasgow Warriors separate. And he'll chip over the top for George Horn. And almost, I tell you what, almost used to let it bounce there. I think it was Tom Jordan who was chasing it. Now they're kicking behind for the Bulls, and they're going to give chase, but Adja Piardi deciding that there was no advantage on, so bringing all the play back. Nice idea that from George Horn. And it was Tom Jordan indeed, actually. He was right up. And yeah, millimeters, absolutely millimeters away from taking that. If he did, it could have been interesting. Yeah, such a good break there from Devin Williams. He identified the mismatch. It's the best thing, isn't it, when you've got the pace of Devin Williams. You look up and you're seeing a bit of space, you're seeing a lock on one side, you're seeing a prop on the other side, and you're saying, thank you very much, I'll go straight through that. Right, just under 3 minutes. It is Bulls' feed at the scrum here on the 10-meter line. Inside Bulls' territory on the far right-hand side. Big scrum there. Penalty advantage for the Bulls. And Ambrose Pierre comes away with it. And a bit of pressure there. Eventually throws it to Jan Goosen. Now, Sergio Peterson. Long pass on the angle to Kurt Lawrence with green grass ahead of him. As Kurt Lawrence steps inside. Good tackle that from Josh Mackay. And they will win. Yeah, I'll go back for the penalty. Yeah, really, really good work that from the Bull scrum. Not quite kickable because it is inside their own half. So they'll just kick to touch here with the Bulls. But might yet have a late chance of finding some points if they can get themselves close and get into a good position to maul over. It's a good line out there to Albert Lowe. Now, Malcolm is starting ahead of Jan Krobler, but penalty for basically what's truck and trailers, what they used to call. It is obstruction. That's a bit poor. Just can just see separating from them all, but not doing it legally. And Glasgow will yet have the last say in the half here, potentially, with 30 seconds left to go before half time. Glasgow Warriors have scored 22 more tries, by the way. The next best is 7. So if you want to know what their weapon is, it is this right here as Jack Dempsey goes through. Throws it back to Johnny Matthews into the 22. Glasgow go. A try before half time will make things very interesting. And it's Matt Ferguson. Great tackle that from Cyril Pearson. Brave tackle that from Cyril Pearson. He had to make it 5 meters out now. Glasgow right up against the left-hand touchline. Back inside from Batty to his prop partner, Xander Ferguson. Pick up and go now from Rory Dodge. Gets away from 1. 2 meters out now, Glasgow. Much, much better this in the last 10 minutes from them. Desperate defense now for the Bulls. They'll be desperate not to concede. Bit of pushing and shoving for Cameron Honeycomb on Tupolotto. Tupolotto's having a bit of a laugh with him. They're just short. No, they're not. No, they're not. They have scored. Glasgow get a try late in the first half. On the cusp of half time. They needed it. They needed something to take into half time, and they will have it. Such an important time to score. Going in halftime 13-0, you're thinking, oh, that's a lot to come back. But all of a sudden, you go in at 13, potentially 7, and you know that you're basically just you convert a try away from the lead. So it's an important time to score. Important kick this now here for George Horn, who's been absolutely electric so far. Yeah, good kick that from George Horn. Right, half-time score, 13 points to 7. Very much still game on here, says Glasgow. We'll be back very much shortly after the break, so don't go away. And smash like on the video if you are new. Subscribe to the channel as well. And we'll see you guys in a bit. Right, hello everybody and welcome to Between Two Fans. The man is back. It is the OG duo. We had a stand-in last week. At the moment, contract negotiations continue behind the scenes with regards to the long-term future of Between Two Fans.
Fabrizio Romano is speculating as we speak. He's tweeting, almost here he goes along the way. I hear it was the most watched episode on YouTube since this podcast's induction. So, that's a hell of a pre-season training camp for Mr. Addy de Block.
Yeah, so no, this is the thing, and yeah, so I mean, Dan calls at the moment, the contract renewal negotiations are definitely haven't had a relook, so we'll have to wait and see if we're going to continue with Dan or if we might be looking to make that loan deal a permanent one. But for now, we will deal with what we've got, and the man looks a little bit tanned. Looks like he actually saw the sun, and looks like Bach fever is officially hit. So first of all, Dan, how are you? How was Italy?
Italy was great until I heard I might have, I'm half out of a job now after coming back. So a holiday might have hurt me in that way, but good sun, which we lack in the UK. Good sea, good food. But happy to be back, Stevie. Very, very excited. Oh my word, do we have a lot to catch up on And yes, as you can see, Bok Fever is hit. I can't believe you there wearing your grey. I think it's testament to Bok season being in the country where I am, as opposed to the country
and you've got
where
confirmation
you
you are going to the game as well, so
I shall be there.
Yeah, that's nice to be down this week. But Dan, let's get into this, shall we? Because we've got a lot to get through in this. After what we said was going to be a bit of a slow week last week or the week before, then we've now got everything ramping up with the Euros that started on Friday. We've got internationals coming up. We've got Ireland squads being announced, Bok teams being announced, Wales teams being announced, cricket into the Super 8 tomorrow. Stop it, I like it stuff out here. So let's go through the predictions because you did have a proxy last week.
I did.
Let's see how the proxy has fared. So we had 3 games, and for those who don't know, we do a running tally. 1st to 15 basically is the current competition. Steve currently leading 10 points to 9. The loser, by the time we get to 15, will have to do an episode in a rival jersey, so like a Bulls jersey for me, or like an Arsenal jersey. Dan will have to be in like United jersey, or like a Lions jersey, or maybe like an England rugby jersey or something. Let's try and find basically the worst possible thing to potentially wear, and they have to do an episode in that. So the race is on. It is firmly on. Now, in terms of the predictions last week, we did Bulls versus Leinster. Steve saying Leinster by 15. Alistair de Block clutching up here for Dan, going with the impossible. Bulls by 8, getting the dub. It was Bulls by 5 in the end.
Imagine picking too many for the Bulls to win by. That's what I call bloody confidence. What a guy.
Yeah, he obviously
is Ali a Bulls fan?
I think he is, actually, to be fair.
Okay, well, there it is. Heart. Always with the heart, not the head, bro. This is how we do predictions on this side of the table.
Correct. Then Munster versus Glasgow. It ended up 10 points to 17. Both myself and Ali went with Munster wins. I said Munster by 5. Ali went Munster by 12. So technically, and I will claim this because Dan has had a couple of sketcy wins via this this rule on technicalities. So technically, I win that. So it's 1-1-1. And then Spain versus Croatia. Steve backing Croatia 1-0. Alistair going 2-1 Spain. Croatia were absolutely awful.
The under 60s rocked up.
Yeah, no, it was so frustrating to see that just the lack of. And everything else I was thinking about, Spain a potential favourite and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Spanish side's good, but I don't think it's
not favourites, but people are impressed now.
But I just. And again, you still look at that Croatian side. There's still good players in it, but just didn't really come in. But we'll talk a little bit about that as well. Obviously, we had some interesting Euros results. England, for example, on Sunday, getting a victory, but very underwhelming performance for somebody who's supposed to be favourites. France having to graft last night to get their victory. So we'll talk about that there. So technically, Dan, you have been given the win. It is all square at 10-10.
We are equal. This is my first time, hey? We all square since the inception of this segment of the show. I'm glad I said to 15 and not to 10 because jeepers. Stephen, momentum's a funny thing. Those who haven't been listening for a long time, the score was 8-2, I believe, at its worst. So, I mean, 8-2, and now it's been a reverse 8-2 in the other direction. So we all equal at 10-10, and momentum's a funny thing, Stevie, and I have to say I back my chances. We team heart this side. There are too many analytics going on in the brain over there.
Yeah, well, to be honest, now that we're moving into the more sort of neutral things moving forward, I think this is where it's going to get interesting. We've got no Premier League, for example, so nothing to worry about between Liverpool, United, Affinity. Even in the URC, our team's out. We're always both going to back the box. So, it's now going to get interesting. But let's talk about some ruggers, Dan, because we had an incredible last weekend. 2 upsets. And whilst the Bulls were, the home side, and I got a lot of flack for calling it an upset, and saying that it's, it was mission impossible, and people are like, oh, but this is the Bulls. Look at their history. Look at the results they've had. And I was like, I'm not saying it's one of the best upset games ever for the Bulls, but this Bulls side, this is not the Bulls side of Brian Abandon, Bucky's Boyta, Victor Matfield, Donny Rousseau, Farida Priya. It's not that Bulls side. This is the Bulls side that was missing 2 out of their 4 box. Had one coming back from injury and one that went off with injury in the first half. And the captain, so this is a very inexperienced Bulls side on a sort of journey on the way up. But now, actually, 8 months away from potentially being URC champions against Leinster, who, regardless of not having won the trophies, 3 back-to-back European finals, for example. They are
half the island team.
Yeah,
like, they're the real deal. They put teams to bed for fun, home or away. It doesn't matter when they're full strength. Leinster only lose to the best of the best when they're at full strength. That's just a full stop. You can put next to that, because how many games have they lost this season at full strength? 2. 1 to Toulouse in the final, 1 to Bulls in the final. That's it. You know what I mean? When they go at it, hammer and tong, they win. So of course,
and when they win, they win impressive. I mean, look how easily they dispatched La Rochelle when they had to. They had some old scars there. It was like, might be a close game. They said not a chance. Went into that game and hammered the current European champions. So the quality's there.
I mean, Stevie, I think it goes in 2 different directions, and I think this game was won and lost emotionally. In that, I think there's a massive emotional hangover that Leinster now have, and it's not about necessarily their quality on the pitch, because that isn't being questioned here. I think it's just how much can 3 finals back to back to back, as you mentioned, weigh on you, and trophy-less seasons after trophy-less seasons with a world-class squad like they have, versus the Bulls who go in with nothing to lose, and at home with their fans behind them. They just play like a team possessed, right?
Yeah. And I think Leinster paid the price for the rotation, didn't they? That South African trip, losing to the Lions and the Stormers, finishing in third. That was the difference. Because I know it's been done before, but I do kind of say that's kind of more sort of the COVID times. But I don't think the Bulls go overseas to the RDS, or I don't even think they're in the RDS. I think they would have been in the Aviva or Coke Park, because the RDS is being renovated. I don't think Bulls go over there and do that. I think Leinster at home put them away.
Much less likely. Likely. But
so maybe a word of warning that to Leinster in terms of next season you can't sacrifice that number 1 position.
Yeah, and you're also looking at you speak about sacrifice, Stevie, and what Leinster they sacrificed for the betterment of their Champions Cup. Ended up not winning that in a very close game, of course, going to extra time. But the Bulls, on the other hand, sacrificing the Champions Cup semi-final, sending a B team over, losing that for the betterment of the URC season, earning them a second place spot, getting a home semi-final, and as we kind of both agreed, one of the main reasons they were able to win. Much more difficult away from home. So people scrutinized, people were highly critical of Jake White, but it's worked exactly how he played it out, like a chess, not checkers. You know what I mean? This is what he wanted. He wanted to win the URC, and he thought he had more chance of doing that. And now he has an opportunity to do that on Saturday at home.
Yeah, he basically said it was quite simple. If we were to win the European champion, you have to go away to a Toulouse, away to a Leinster, away to a Northampton, and he said even if they beat Northampton, they would have then had to go to play against a Leinster or Toulouse in the final over in Europe. And he basically said, we're not going to win the Champions Cup. We can't. We don't have the resources, but we can contend for the URC. So put all the eggs in the basket, and they will host Glasgow Warriors on Saturday, and they will go into that game as firm favourites. So difficult to argue the results. But let's also talk about Munster versus Glasgow. Reigning champions. It is a curse, by the way. There is not a single team that has finished first in the URC log that has gone on to win the tournament.
Yeah,
it's
huge.
And we're going to have a new champion as well. Neither Bulls nor Glasgow Warriors have won the URC. Bulls have been in a final,
which is so good for the health of the competition.
Yes,
right?
To have 3 different winners in 3 different seasons is really cool.
And obviously, Stormers were the likely ones to go back to back last season. And Munster potentially this season, but you're talking about to be fair, over the 3 seasons, those have been the dominant figures. If you're talking about 4 teams: Leinster, Munster, Stormers, Bulls. Now, but it's great, this, for all we know, the trophy could be going to Scotland this year, and not from South Africa. And now you're talking, we spoke about it a couple of weeks back, how it was amazing that we had a team from Wales, Italy, Scotland, South Africa, and Ireland in the top 8. So you're talking about diversifying your talent pool, and I think that's what makes this competition very different to others, in that you have so many that possible competitors.
Yeah, no, I think I 100% agree. And Glasgow Warriors being my second URC team, it was very cool to see them get over
Even
the
this
ride.
weekend.
This weekend was 100% against Munster. 100%. I was all Glasgow Warriors. Oh, for this coming weekend.
This coming weekend.
Yeah, this one does tug on the heartstrings a bit because as I said they played the first URC game and I remember watching it. It was a Friday night. I sat at home and I watched it and I was like, yo, this team's cool. Like this is my team. And now they're in the final against the Bulls, so it's going to be the patriotism versus a team that I've been really rooting for the last few years. So it's going to be a tricky one for me.
You got a South African coach, Franco Smith, South African captain, Carl Steyn, Sintuman Jay-Z in there as well. I think he's injured at the moment, so not playing. But a couple of South Africans in the mix as they usually are in and amongst the Scottish. So it's not all anti-South Africa if you're supporting the Glasgow Warriors, which I'm still on the fence about. Right? I'm also I'm. It's like. Usually in rugby, as South African fans, everything's just geared toward the box. But now it's like my footballing side comes in where it's like the noisy neighbor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, correct.
Now it's the Bulls, and particularly for you, in Gauteng, they're just across the road there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not hearing too many of the blow buller in my ear at work as much as I'm sure you are on a day-to-day basis. So. I mean, either way, it's going to be a crack of a final, but you have to say Bulls are going to be favourites, but I think that might just favour Glasgow as it did in the semi-final.
Yeah. No, I think they'll enjoy being underdogs, but I think you're going to have potentially 50,000 Bulls fans who are going to be there at 3 o'clock drinking brandy, watching the box, and then filtering into Loftus. If there was ever going to be a cauldron and a stadium where you don't want to play, it's probably again going to be on Saturday because it's going to be an absolutely mental vibe to have a Bok game just before, and then you're literally going to go from the Bok game into Loftus and watch that game.
It's sold out.
I don't know what the current update is. There was an update today from the Bulls side. They did sell 4,000 tickets in the first hour.
Okay. I mean, it'll be at least 80% capacity. I mean, that.
Yeah, I reckon we'll see at least 40,000 people in there.
Yeah,
that would be my guess. But speaking of the day, we've got Springbok Rugby, Dan, and Rassie.
So I'm not wearing this hat for no reason.
Yeah, Rassie has sprung the surprises with a very interesting side that has been named. So
every Rassie squad, I don't think we've ever
always
seen
that one like,
squad,
okay. Right? There's always that one selection that no one can really call. But let's go through the side quickly. So I'll go through it. 1 through to 15. It is Oxenchair, Malcolm Marks, Vincent Koch, Eben Etzebeth, Franco Mostert, Quagga Smith, Peter Steph Toy as captain, Evan Roos. Then the backline is Faf de Klerk, Jordan Hendricks, Makazole Mapimpi, Andre Esterhazen, Jesse Creel, Edwin van der Merwe, Apelele Fassi. The bench is Bongi Imanambi, Instuka Nunu, France Malherbe, Salman Murat, Ben Jason Dixon, Grant Williams, Sasha Feinberg Gomezulu, and Damien Ade Lindy. The 4 uncapped players are Jordan Hendricks, Edel van der Merwe, Ben Jason Dixon, Sasha Feinberg Gomezulu. So 1 to Ebion waiting for the forwards, 3 in the back line. Dan, what stands out from you in that squad?
I mean, there's only one person we can start with, right? And it's the well documented and discussed position within the Springboks over the last couple of years at number 10, and it's Jordan Hendricks. Yeah. I mean, you're talking about someone who is playing second fiddle to the guy who was just named today URC Player of the Year. He only started 55% of the games for Lions this season. So he's playing half the games because essentially
starting off the games, to be fair.
Sanela Nahamba has taken that number 10 jersey for Lions and made it his own, especially because the Lions have had such depth at scrum that they could have him there. I think Jordan was out injured in the beginning when he slotted in, and he's just been unbelievable, complete box office from Nahamba. Not obviously getting into this squad is Nahamba, but we're here to speak about Hendricks. I think the big thing that everyone's speaking about.
Right, and we are back. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Forever Rugby on Fair Sports for the final of the URC, the grand final, as it's known. And the Bulls leading Glasgow Warriors 13 points to 7 at half-time will be 40 minutes away if they can keep this lead from a maiden URC title, and Rosa Pierre has been absolutely manhandled. I think it might even be Devin Williams, actually. It is Devin Williams, who's been picked up and taken on to touch by Glasgow, who scored a try before half-time, a very important try as well. You think that Bulls go in at 13-0, not necessarily game done, but a way to go. All of a sudden, Glasgow go in at 30 points to 7, and they're one converted try away from potentially being in the lead. So an important time for Glasgow to score, and I think if they score next, first of all, they could be in the lead, but that, for example, can swing in momentum a lot. So Bulls need to be a bit careful here. And they have won the line up there from Glasgow, so an opportunity now for Harry Forster, who has not played a lot of rugby this season, but has looked so good in the past few games when he has been suddenly drafted in. Just goes to show what the value of depth is and having experience. He has played in finals before, Super Rugby finals for the Lions, and now flying a straight for the Bulls. Nice carry there for also another former Lions player in the form of Ruan for Mark. Good work there now, Xander Ferguson with the turnover ball. George Horn, who I thought was absolutely terrific in that first half. Dempsey now. And George Horn is going to the back here. He's going to go to the boot here as George Horn. On a bad kick, and Carl Staines after it as a Sergio Peterson. It's well taken in the end by Sergio Peterson. Almost actually taken off him by David Creel, but the ball spills out, and it's a penalty for Glasgow Warriors for holding on. Good work that from the Glasgow captain. Sergio Peterson only his 8th appearance this season. Played a bit at the beginning of the season and then hadn't played since January before he then came in recently. So shows you how you have to be ready in the wings and ready to come on and make an impact. Speaking of ready, this Glasgow Maul has been good all season. It's right up against touchline, but it's still going forward here. Johnny Matthews continuing. The momentum now goes down. Ball available there for Carl Steyn. And they are less than 10 meters out. Xander Ferguson goes forward. Rory Dodge looking for options. Going to pick up and go himself. He's been really strong as Rory Dodge. Much better than from Glasgow early on. Popping it up now to Jamie Batty. Throws off Cameron Hanekom. Has a second go. Albert Lowe stands up to the challenge. Pick up and go there. I think it's Matt Ferguson. Jan Krobler trying to get over the ball. And does win it. Jan Krobler waited. The opportunity presented itself. And he was on like a flash. That's such good work that from Jan Krobler. Bit of an injury here. No, that he decides to get up. Does Richie Grace says he's absolutely fine to continue. There are subs here, though, by the way. 1 and 2 for Glasgow will be subbed after 5 minutes. So here comes Nathan Macbeth and George Turner. Good players. Nathan Macbeth has just been added to the Scotland squad. He got his first maiden call-up. And George Turner, very, very experienced. And they do steal the line out there, do Glasgow. Horn going to Rory Dodge. Show and go. Big tackle that came from Vilko Low, but ball with Glasgow Warriors. Suddenly seem to have a lot of momentum. Horn thinking about going to the right side. Decides to go to the left to Matt Ferguson. All three of the Glasgow back row very much involved in the island setup. Uses the call here. And you might be risk of the 5-second rule. No, Horn does eventually manage to get out. Carstein gives chase just outside 22. And it comes loose. Jan Goosen comes away with it. Tupoloscu makes the tackle. He pops it up to Alwood Low. I've been impressed by the physicality lately all of a sudden. I mean, early stage, I don't think Glasgow had really pitched up. But now they're starting to click into gear. Now, Jan Goosen goes to the boot. Has got the stage 22. Will find touch. And it'll be about the halfway line. Good touch finding that from Jan Goosen. As Sweet Caroline echoes around Loftus. Name a more common duo than Sweet Caroline and Live Rugby in South Africa. Anyway, the back of the scrum, yeah, here comes, sorry, back of the line rather. That's a very good work. Still working hard is Jack Dempsey in the carry. Bulls just been chipping a few tackles recently. Now, Carstein doesn't often kick, does kick there. Sergio Peterson will go back and get there. It's a good tackle on him by Carstein. And not the best pass to Devin Williams. Got a bit of time, does find a clearance. It's a desperate clearance. Bulls under all sorts of pressure here from Glasgow. Looking to see the high tackle. No, it's on the ball. There's actually nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Right, here comes Nizam Khan for Cameron Harnicombe. That's a very big replacement to make. Albert Lowe will probably shift to number 8 jersey there. But an injury to Cameron Harnicombe here. You can see he's just sort of shuffling off. Not good to see at all. Now Ambrose Pierre goes to the boot. Chasing hard Sergio Peterson. Casts down underneath it. Spins away back from his own pace actually. Then is wrapped up by Sergio Peterson. Solid work from him. So Glasgow now having to build from deep. Now goes to the boot, does Horn. Underneath it is Jan Goosen. But Carstein gets it back and Rory Dodge comes away with it. Very good work this from Glasgow. Horn looking for options. Goes to Jordan. Jordan goes flat to George Turner. So okay from him. Now back down the left-hand side. Good work that from Scott Cummings. On the right, left-hand side, here goes Hugh Jones. Uses Koya on George Horn. That's another good take there from Sergio Peterson. Really good work from him. Big kick that from Goosen downfield and having to come away with it. Wanted to run it there to Sebastian Cancelliere and then deciding the best option, apparently it's actually Tom Jordan, is to kick it into touch. Not the best kick there either, but really good work. Right, check comes Akpanamura for Johannes Koblar. So Jake White turning to his bench as well. It was the fourth change that for Cameron Hanekom, but this one will be part of the plan. Akpanamura, 12 tries, only 2 behind Johnny Matthews, as you'd imagine from the most mauls in the competition, more tries in the competition. Johnny Matthews sitting top of the maul of the try stats. Good work there for Akpanamura at the line. Inside ball, yeah. Harold Forster goes to back to Akpanamura. Nice little training ground move there from the Bulls. Penalty advantage as well. Back to Jan Kloos. He's going to go for the drop goal. Oh, he's nailed it. No, he's not. Come back to the penalty. Which he'll then take the points anyway. Early points here. Could be the first points of the half after 10 minutes. It's been an intense 10 minutes. But that's very kickable, yeah. And yeah, just checks with you. Everyone not care, but definitely going for poles. They have to go for poles. Be silly not to. Right, Johan Goosen to get the score going in the second half, yeah. Yeah, no issues from him. The flags go up, and the Bulls make it 16 points to 7. Oh, that's so poor from Alred Lowe. Is that not a penalty, though? It is a penalty. Alred Lowe knocking it forward, and Currie Arnser in front of him had nothing to do but catch it, which means it's a penalty for Glasgow Warriors off the kickoff. So if they strike back here, it can cancel out that penalty and actually get them even closer. So that's a big mistake. It's such a coach killer, isn't it? When you go and get points, you've built momentum, you've earned it, and then you go and make a mistake off the kickoff. Very frustrating that. Just spills it forward, and then Currie Arnser there goes and grabs it. And going to kick for the corner here is Tom Jordan. And Glasgow Warriors now 5 minutes out. George Turner will feed the line up. As I mentioned, they've got the best maul in the competition, and this is exactly where they'd like to set one up. Right, so here we go. They shoot to the left-hand side. Now comes the rolling maul. There's the run. George Turner's going to get another one. There he is. So easy for Glasgow. That maul is so effective. Try for Glasgow. Back in the game. 16 points to 12 with the kick to come. And they can actually get themselves within 2 points now. So efficient is this maul, isn't it? Carl Stone adding his weight for what it was worth. Tupolotto in there as well. Right, so George Horn, 1 for 1 so far this evening. Devin Williams wants to chase this down. Yeah, no issues. George Horn, he's a good goal kicker, as George Horn, and that's a very good kick from him. Right, game on. Game firmly on. Every single time you think, oh, here we go, that could be the big thing, there's been a reply so far. Right, restart down the middle of the park for Glasgow, targeting Mackay, who's away to the threat, gets away from Embrosa Pierce, finds him in the space. Down the middle of the field he goes. Puts it onto the boot, and he'll continue to chase. Johannes Wilson needs to hit the house. No, it's going to go too far. It's actually a really bad kick in the end from Josh Mackay. He did so well. It'll be a scrum all the way back when he kicked it. So all the pressure off. What an opportunity that could have been. Mackay's had a really good season, and it was a really nice run. It's amazing how, that was phenomenal, really. But he kicked it just inside his half, and because he kicked it far too far, it'll be a scrum all the way back there. And with the Bulls' scrum being so dominant, this could actually be a potential scrum in a very kickable position for Jan Goosen. So it was a great idea, but it could yet actually be a bit of a problem. Penalty for Glasgow, though, of all people. I didn't expect that. Well, now, is this maybe kickable for George Horn? He is at altitude. I don't know if he's got a 55-meter kick in him. No, they're going to turn on the points. Going to go to the corner. Again, there's rolling more, though. You back your more. Well, I'll tell you what. One team has come out and pitched up for this half, and it is not the home side so far. Going to some of the comments, Lindbergh saying South African club teams and national team are currently dominant. Well, don't speak too soon. Charles says that'll be Glasgow's last try in the game. We'll wait and see, won't we? The last two penalties coming courtesy of the Bulls. Papa Rumble saying Glasgow are looking the better team this half. Charles says not a Bulls supporter, but this is for SA. So on the 22 here, Glasgow, and they have got the ball down, looking to try to get that rolling more going. Here comes Jack Dempsey. It is starting to get a bit of momentum over here. It is so efficient as this maul. Still going. George Horn right there in case he needs to take it out. Now he uses the core. Inside 22 though. Tupoloto goes to Tom Jordan. On the bounce to Mackay. Gets the offload away to Cancelera. He needs to straighten. Slips and allows Harold Forst and Jan Kroos to get on. But good scramble defense. Well, it's good scrambling in general from Glasgow Warriors to get back and secure that ball. Just inside 22. Here comes George Turner. I'll bring him down the angle. Horn just seeing a bit of space there. Tom Jordan, in fact, identifying and running himself. Almost dangerous tackle there on him. Now down the right-hand side, George Turner being a bit more direct. Almost a hand in the ruck there, and it comes away to Hugh Jones, but a penalty for a neck roll. Oh, that's a very, very big mistake that from Glasgow. Silly in the end there. I think it's Jack Dempsey or Matt Ferguson who's conceded it. Neck roll. It's so inexcusable. Such a poor way to give away a penalty. Jake White has 1,400 water bottles next to him. And there are the The lights of the phones up in Loftus, lighting up Loftus. If you're asking how to stop the Glasgow More, I do not have the answers to you. Neither do about 15 of the 16 teams in the URC. It's so good. I don't know why it's so good. I don't know what makes it so good. I think your friends are now on the park as well. So that Bulls on the front foot, looking to try and respond. Try and get some momentum back into this game. Been really sloppy in early on the second half. And now all of a sudden, a bit of space on the right-hand side here for Glasgow. And no advantage, go back for the penalty. My score is off. My score is there, mate. It's 16-14. I don't know what you mean by off. It is 16-14. That is the score. Right, so penalty for Glasgow Warriors, who've got a lot of momentum to enter the final 20 minutes. And it's Josh McCarthy as he goes up there, and Kurt Lawrence is slipping and then taking him out in the air there. I mean, you can complain all you want, Kurt Lawrence, but you know he does take him out in the air. It's not intentional, still a penalty. Right, so 62nd minute at the moment, so not much still to play, but enough time for a lot to happen. But we're into the final quarter of the game. George Turner with ball in hand. Good line out there, very efficient line to Glasgow. Now, long pass out to Tupolotto. That's a nice looping run here from Jamie Dobie. Carstein on the outside of David Creel. Has he got the pace? Carstein gets a pass to David Creel. Brought down by Kurt Lawrence. Great work that from the Glasgow captain. Long pass from Henko Fenter. Xander Ferguson goes direct. Both the Glasgow players with scrum caps have lost them, so it becomes a bit more difficult. Mackay steps inside of Johansson. Fires out to Tupolotto. Tupolotto with a bit of space. Holding on desperately is Harold Forster. Tom Jordan comes and fills in that scrum off. Dobie filling in at scrum off there. Tom Jordan over the top for Carstein. Carstein inside ball. Hugh Jones. What a moment. What a moment. Glasgow will take the lead for the first time with 17 minutes to go. Oh dear. Well, I said that the Bulls have not been playing this half. And Glasgow have been. So really good work this by Glasgow so far. Good work there from Carstein. Just taking you up there. Just holds on his line. Inside ball there. No issue there for Hugh Jones. Good play, it's Hugh Jones. He's having another strong game though, it's Carstein. You can see why he's in that Scotland setup. Why he's a regular starter as well. Right. Horn with the kick here. 19 points to 16. No issue. 21 points to 16. A 6-point lead now for Glasgow with just over 15 minutes left to play. On the left-hand side, yeah, Tom Jordan being wrapped up on Nizam Carr. Glasgow looking to run from absolutely anywhere in the field. Really looking to up the ante here on the away side. Sorry to carry that from the replacement, Max Williamson. It's a good tackle there from... Chris has lost the ball forward, actually. This is what I'm saying by mistakes being compounded by more mistakes. Surely that's forward from Chris. I understand how it's not. Okay, well, the Bulls get away with that one. Outward low now towards the halfway line. Middle of the park. Ball eventually available from Brosa Pierre. Creel sizing up Hugh Jones. Good start of possession so far in this game has David Creel. Now Harold Forster stepping back inside. Good work from him. Jan Goosen popping up to Nizam Carr. Nizam Carr with a bit of space. Placed it well from Brosa Pierre. Gerst good work from him. Yeah, this is good work here from the Bulls. Finally, a bit of momentum. 7 phases so far. Nizam Carr. They'll need every bit of experience tonight. Kurt Lauritz goes and joins the ruck. And Gerst will come and fill in that scrum off. One of the heaviest scrum offs around. And Jan Goes seeing a bit of space. But it quickly closes upon Hugh Jones. Big counter ruck came from Xander Ferguson. Ball was almost available for Glasgow. Now a bit of a snipe here from Brosa Pierre. Gets the ball floated away, but forward. And now the bit of space. Has he got the pace? Devin Williams was desperately trying to bring down Jack Dempsey, but look at the pace. He's going all the way. Oh no, is that it? He's run about 60 meters, but Jack Dempsey might have very well sealed it for Glasgow. TMO has been brought in. We'll have to wait and see. Potential tackle out the ball. So this could actually be a penalty. Could be quite the... How's this for a bit of a swing? At the moment, Glasgow Warriors are over. They think they've scored. Now, they've got to try and... well, the Loftus faithful will definitely try and swing this in one way. Well, saved by the bell. Well, the TMO, really. They'll go up and it will be disallowed. It was a great run from Jack Dempsey. Heartbreaking, but looking at this, and it does this to be a tackle without the ball. Fractionally early. And it's Turner who's made the tackle. All of a sudden, this will be a penalty for the Bulls in front of Poles. And I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't go for Poles here. Very nice if my scoreboard could update. Why does Flash... I mean, my bloody data provider keeps buckling. 21.16 is the score, by the way. Do they go for the points here? Do Bulls get themselves... I mean, two penalties away from being level. Or do they go for the corner? They're going for the corner, yeah. Jan Goosen will kick towards the corner. Yeah, it's marginal, isn't it? It is early. It's definitely early, but it's not by much. Busy sorting out a scoreboard at the moment. Right, Bulls the back. The Harold Boston are carrying strongly. Marco Verstappen knows one way, and that's forward. Good work from him. Now they just need to defend here, do Glasgow, really. Now going to the phase. That's the 10th phase now. And Bro Sapir goes to Marco Verstappen. He's had a strong game, Marco Verstappen. Much better game than he did a week ago. He's coming back from injury. He's looked much more like his old self tonight. Volkalo, solid work from him. Houston goes to Nizam Carr. Nizam Carr caught on the ball by Jamie Dobie. Now Ruan Okia puts his head down. 15 phase, 16 phase, now 17 phase by ball. It's a massive hit on Marco van Staden. And he cannons on to the left. Nizam Carr. And it's a stoppage here for a neck roll against the Bulls. Cannot afford to do that. Desperately trying to get back in the game, and then there's a neck roll. Apparently it's Currie Lawrence, of all people. It's a bit of a weird one to neck roll. The big physicality that though. Right, so 10 minutes left. Just over 10 minutes left. The Bulls need a moment here. Right, and then as you imagined, no rush there from the Glasgow players. They don't need to. They need to force the issue here. They've got the lead. Good work there. Flat from Franco Fenter to Jack Dempsey, who almost thought he had scored a brilliant try that would put up almost certainly won Glasgow. Now, Horn's kick is charged down, but he gets up. Has he been taken out in the air there? He has been taken out in the air there. Poor from Renaud Ludwig. Impatient. They are going to take the points here. Are Glasgow try and get themselves. At the moment, they are 5 points away. You get this kick, and all of a sudden they become 9 points, 8 points away. Easy maths. We'll get there eventually. Right, Horn. Important kick this. It's looking good as well. It's looking good. It's not the distance. It doesn't have the distance. It's just short. Kirsten comes away with it. Bulls side. Big side relief. Big clearance there from Kirsten. He doesn't find touch. 16 points, 21 with 8 minutes to go. Tom Jordan down on the right-hand side. Random Ludwig there to make the tackle. Now Carl Stain up against touchline. Comes back inside. Solid tackle there for Cyril Peterson. Sander Ferguson's managed to find a scrum cap. Nathan Macbeth. On the left-hand side, they go. Richie Gray. Inside Bulls territory. Just past the 10-meter line. Good to carry that from George Chinnemer. Solid defense by the Bulls. George Hearn, once again, they're going back on the left-hand side. They've been quite fond of that blind side. And Henk Fender, that's a nice big strong carry. Creel so busy trying to rip the ball, but he's actually allowed him to make some more minutes. So now just outside 22. Really good work this from Glasgow. Has to be disciplined here for the Bulls. A penalty here. And that could be the game gone from them. 7 minutes. Less than 7 minutes on the clock. Carl Stain. Dempsey goes short. Penalty for the Bulls. Marco van Staden over the ball. Jan Goosen has kicked it dead. So quick to try and take quickly and get down the field, and he's kicked it dead. That is absolutely dreadful from Jan Goosen, the man who was the hero in the semi-final. We here come to props in the form of Francois Klopper and Sapir Matanzima. So that'll be the end of Chaos Stennekamp and Wilco Loans games. All right, big scrum now here, just outside 22. Bulls desperate for a penalty. It's outside 22. I mean, what was supposed to be an opportunity for the Bulls to get into Glasgow territory, all of a sudden be a defensive scrum. They just brought in two big props here, the Bulls. Working hard, but George Horn does use it. Goes to Tupoloto. Tupoloto puts his head down. Nice and direct. 6 minutes left on the clock here. Carl Stain shifting on the right side. Trying to find a bit of space before straightening. Horn, quick ball. He's going to play a full 80 as George Horn, and I think could potentially be man of the match if he does. Whether they do get over the line. Left-hand side, Henko Fentas, former Sharks flank. Looking for glory with his new side. Tupoloto goes to Tom Jordan. Long pass out to Hugh Jones. Fast up in the wing. Chip and chase by Hugh Jones. A straight in the touch. But poor that from Hugh Jones, to be honest. Right, 5 minutes left. You feel the Bulls will get a chance. They will get a chance, I reckon. The question is, can they take that chance? A converted try does it for them. An unconverted try takes us to extra time. That would be exciting. A penalty, not enough. That's a hell of a more, yeah. They got to the 10-meter line, yeah. Bit of a test of their own medicine here. Ambrose Pierre gets past. Pops it up to Nizam Carr. Big hit on Francois Klopper there. Tom Jordan getting up nice and quickly. Is this the potential chance for the Bulls here? 4 minutes left. Just still inside their own half, though. Kusin going to Nizam Carr. Big defense needed here from Glasgow Warriors. Under 4 minutes to go. Francois Klopper goes straight, but just can't find their way into Glasgow territory so far, can the Bulls? Howard Low. Pretty dead in the feet here, are the Bulls players, but they've got to try and dig deep. The entire season's come down to these 4 minutes. Marco Verstappen rolling in the tackle. Papier popping up to Francois Klopper. This is proper defense, this from Glasgow Warriors. 10 phases from the Bulls, and they've gone absolutely nowhere. Now Marco Verstappen. Big pops up to Bruce Papier. Albert Low, you can just see there's not much left to give here for the Bulls. They finally find their way into Glasgow territory, though. Papier goes to Marco Verstappen. He'll run it again, but you can see he's absolutely knackered. Couple of options there for Kusin. Decides to hold on to it. Ripped in the tackle there by Aka van der Merwe. Popping up to Ruan Okia. Popping it up to Francois Klopper. He's isolated. And I think this will be turnover ball here for Glasgow. Nope. Yeah, it is. I said isolated. That could be the game. 2.5 minutes left. They're celebrating on the sidelines. They know how important that is. Hugh Jones and Tom Jordan. What a moment that is for them. Now, look at the desperation on some of the Bulls fans' faces there. I've played in 3 finals previously when it was the Pro 12 and Pro 14. We've got a TMO check, though. Could this maybe rescue the Bulls? 18 blow. Could well be a penalty. Could well be a penalty here for the Bulls. Right, looking at a potential foul player. Francois Klopper. It's Henko Fenter. Or was it the tackle for Tom Jordan? I don't think there's much in that, to be honest. Yeah, I'm about to say, purely understanding it's not the tackle that they're talking about. There's apparently another incident. Well, he said it's not this one. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that tackle, really. I mean, his hand's on the ball. I mean, the Loftus faithful can boo and hoo and hiss and all they like. It's nothing wrong with that tackle, but apparently that's not the incident. So we're looking at the wrong incident here. We're going to find the right one. We're still looking at the wrong one. That's this one. I'll take it all back. This could yet be trouble for Glasgow. I think it was the big tackle from Tom Jordan. And it's shoulder to head, head to head. This will probably be a red card. This will be a penalty. This is the moment I've been talking about for the Bulls. Yeah, I think that's a three boxes ticked there, to be honest. I don't think there's much mitigation there either. So I think this could be Tom Jordan. Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's a yellow card, red card. Unless it's going to extra time, it won't make a difference. In real speed, says Piardi wants to see what all the facts were and if there's potential mitigation here. I don't really see much, to be fair. Well, it's going to be a yellow. Again, doesn't make much of a difference. It's 2.5 minutes left. Unless it's going to extra time, we're not going to see Tom Jordan again. So I'm going to put the yellow up there for Glasgow. Big moment in the game. So with less than 2.5 minutes left on the clock, 5 points trailing. Bulls have got a penalty. But they've got to get themselves down the field, score a try, as well as convert it against a 14-man Glasgow. Yeah, Bulls trying to take the penalty there. And all the Glasgow Warriors players very quick to point out, no, it's further down there. Nice try. I'm not entirely sure what the confirmation of the mark there. Devin Williams will kick this downfield. Big opportunity here. Penalty for the Bulls. Glasgow down to 14. What can they do with it, though? That's the big question. Devin Williams finds touch by the 22. Right, looking for the rolling maul. They've come through the middle there of Glasgow, so it's not going to be a rolling maul. That's going to... Oh, it almost goes out, actually. Bro Sapir comes back inside. He's going to have to go himself. Brought down by his opposite number and George Horn. Both nines looking like they're going to go the distance. Matanzima goes to Francois Klopper, the man who was the penalty was against, was for the tackle on him. Now, Ulrich Lowe. The nice thing about that from the Bulls is that they would have had about 4 or 5 minutes to catch their breath, try and re-energize. Nizam Carr. They need 7 points here. Remember, an unconverted try takes us to extra time. A penalty is not enough. There's not going to be no drop goals here. Last minute, Renard Ludwig now. Embro Sapir. Inside ball to Ulrich Lowe. Desperate defense now for Glasgow Warriors. 8 phases so far from the Bulls. 9 phases. Turnover ball. Penalty in front of the poles. Doesn't matter. They're going to have to go for the corner. Doesn't matter. Some very nervous Bulls players on the fringe there with Dylan Smith there. I think it was Janus Kirsten as well. Now, he has found touch this time, has Jan Kirsten. He missed it earlier, and it almost proved to be pretty decisive now, Bulls. But it'll be in the corner. So remember, a try, an unconverted try, takes us to extra time, 10 minutes apiece. A converted try will give Bulls the win. Glasgow Warriors, do they contest? There's 5 seconds. By the time they take this line, it will be in the red. If they just contest it, they knock it on, for example, if they just cause any disruption to this line out and there's any whistle blown, Glasgow will be champions. And Akafana is getting a bit of treatment over here. Pretty important player, your hooker. And he's not particularly happy, by the way. He can barely walk, Akafana. Yeah, he hobbles to the side. He is going to try to take it. All he needs to do is throw the ball into the line out. He doesn't even need to worry about the row anymore. Just needs to take us to the line out. They do come good with it, though. Massive more defense there from Glasgow. Massive. Akafana comes away with it. Pops it up to Nizam Khan. Launches it forward. But there was a penalty advantage. They'll have another go. We're not here. Just saying calm down. Collapsing them all is the call. Go to the corner. Once again, I'm sure. Another opportunity here. Desperately encouraging their teammates, all the Glasgow Warriors. 50,000 Bulls fans backing the Bulls. 5 minutes now. Go to Ulrich Low. That's a good line. Much better, more set this time. Huge moment in the game here. Still going, still going, still going. It's over, but then repelled backwards. What's going to be the call here? Is the ball going to be available? Is a turnover ball? Glasgow are champions. Glasgow are champions. The whistle goes. And that is a massive, massive result. Franco Smith and the Glasgow Warriors have come and beaten the Bulls at a packed-out Loftus. Coming from behind, 13-0 down. Carl Steyn celebrates. That is absolutely incredible. Heartbreak for the Bulls. Sensational for Glasgow. Goodness me. I'm shocked at that. The tightest of margins here. Henko Venter celebrating his first season with the Glasgow Warriors. Well, what a game. Came down right to the end there. Needed some desperate performance. There's a bit of tears around that Glasgow Warriors side. You can see what it means to them. Well, take a bow. What an interesting season we've had. Glasgow Warriors, I don't think anybody would have put money on Glasgow Warriors to win the URC. They are the URC champions in Pretoria. People, thank you very much for joining me throughout the day. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a long day. Smash like on the video. Subscribe to the channel as well. And I'll see you guys all next time.